Chapter 1017. Since Tianqing, an earthly lord, had shown their true strength, Yi Tianyun would naturally do the same. The effect of the evil demon god set was completely unleashed. At the same time, he used the ancient desolate suit and the divine dragon bloodline. The power stacked up. The original star power of hundreds of thousands quickly jumped to the star power of 1 million. And it even kept surging towards the star power of 2 million. This was his power. After continuous breakthroughs in his cultivation, his combat ability had improved a lot. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to use his powerful strength to resist the violent lightning attacks. As time passed, the lightning that surged over became more and more concentrated. It constantly pierced through the black flames that he released and struck his body. This overbearing lightning only left a faint mark on Yi Tianyun's body after striking him. However, when the surging power of the 5 elements surged into his body, it still caused him considerable damage. This damage was indeed too overbearing. It was not that easy to resist. Looks like I'm still lacking. Yi Tianyun's dark eyes flashed. The celestial divine spear immediately appeared in his huge hand. He swung it forward quickly. Countless black lights intertwined and formed a dense black net, easily defeating the lightning that kept surging over. For a moment, he was also able to resist the attack of the lightning. He was able to resist it just like the other two. When the crowd saw this scene, they were somewhat speechless. Among them, Earth Lord Tegu was the most surprising, because he had been able to resist it for a long time, and now he was still able to resist it. It had to be said that he had hidden himself really well. These 3 people are really amazing. It would be great if one of them was our disciple. You're thinking too much. These 3 people are probably external help that they hired. Do you think they trained themselves? External help? No way. I remember that the one from the heavenly mandate sacred realm was not external help, right? They all started discussing and expressed their envy for the sacred realm that had such a strong cultivator. If he could stabilize himself, he would undoubtedly pass. Nian Xi watched the scene. As long as everything was not over, she was extremely nervous. If he passed, then everything would be over and he would directly join the 2nd grade sacred realm. He had never had such an honor before. It was already good enough for him to join a grade 2 god realm, not to mention choosing one as he pleased. Tianyun, you must hold on. Nian Xiaoyu gritted her teeth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anticipation for Yi Tianyun. If Yi Tianyun could hold on, the heavenly mandate divine realm would definitely be able to make a comeback. What happened to the other 2 had nothing to do with them. As long as someone joined, their status and rewards would be theirs, and it would have nothing to do with anyone else. When Elder Go Huang and the rest saw the situation, they were very surprised by the performance of these 3 people. This batch of rookies is very strong. To think that they have such abilities. It seems like this isn't their limit yet. Elder Go Huang had a whole new level of respect for them. That's right. This is especially the case for that human. The power that he burst forth with is a little peculiar. I wonder how he managed to cultivate it. However, this human isn't from the god domain. The other 2 were born in the god domain. How could they catch up? Elder Tian Fa was very surprised. There was no need to talk about humans. If they were born in the god domain, they would still have a certain chance of becoming stronger. However, they couldn't understand how Yi Tianyun managed to cultivate to such an amazing level even though he was born in Fanyu. However, the 9th stage is not so easy to pass. Elder Go Huang looked at them and smiled. Everything was not over yet. Rumble. At this time, the power suddenly increased, and it was a level higher than before. The vast thunder and lightning rushed toward them like tens of thousands of horses galloping. Wherever it went, black marks were left on the ground. The power has increased greatly? Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. He immediately laughed and said, as expected, the 9th stage is not so simple. He kept waving the Tianqian divine spear in his hand. Under the medium-grade reincarnation level weapon, black flames were constantly thrown out, bombarding the thunder and lightning. However, as this went on, they gradually felt the pressure increase. This power was getting stronger and stronger. Every bolt of lightning that struck was like a mountain crashing down on them. The Tianqian divine spear in his hand was a little bent. Earth Lord Tianqian was as overbearing as ever. The 3 petals were still tightly wrapped around him, and he continued to resist the thunder and lightning. Even if the power had increased, he could still withstand it. On the other hand, Earth Lord Tegu was in a worse situation. The black light that emerged from his body had begun to flicker and become extremely unstable. If this continued, he would definitely fail. He would definitely be able to withstand the original power, but now that the power had increased, the difficulty was immediately different. Even if it was only a few tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of points of star power, it was already the limit. With the addition of a little more power, the effect was immediately different. The power has increased. Can you still withstand it? Nian Xiu and the others' faces darkened. They thought that they could pass smoothly, but it seemed that they were too naive. The power could actually increase, and it was completely different from the previous 8 stages. It could change. Humph. With a low grunt, Earth Lord Tegu was sent flying and disappeared the moment he fell to the ground. Obviously, he couldn't withstand it. This was beyond what he could bear. Are you giving up just like that? Tianqian kept resisting. His body was charred, and his situation wasn't much better. But in his opinion, Earth Lord Tegu still had more power that he hadn't used. There was no doubt that he still chose to hide his power at this moment, and didn't use it completely. I guess he has some plans. Tianqian ignored Lord of Heaven Tegu, and continued to resist. Even though the power had increased, he wasn't afraid. He also had a critical hit effect. Every 2 attacks would have a critical hit. Under this critical hit effect, the surging lightning was destroyed by his spear, turning into countless light spots and disappearing in the air. Some that weren't destroyed would enter his body and provide him with experience. He was still in a balanced state for a while. As long as his power didn't increase significantly, he could withstand it. In this balanced state, Nian Xiu and the others' hearts were stuck in their throats. They were extremely worried that the power would continue to increase. As for the 9 region lords, they couldn't wait for the power to continue to increase. Obviously, the power wouldn't continue to increase. As time passed, the power became weaker and weaker. Finally, it ended. Chapter 10:18. The final stage is over. After the cloud layer disappeared, Elder Go Huang officially announced the end of the 2nd stage of the test. All the participants were dumbfounded. The more they watched, the harder it was for them to close their mouths. The surging energy was still blocked. Now no one dared to laugh at Tianqian. Even if he was not the first, he was at least the second. Standing at the top of hundreds of thousands of geniuses, and going through layers of tests, who dared to laugh at him? Bastard. When Demon-Eyed Earth Lord and the others woke up and saw Tianqian standing on the field, they punched the ground hard. They did not expect to be defeated by a human, and they were very unwilling. It was the same for Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. He was extremely unwilling to accept this, and he was so jealous that he was about to go mad. After all, if they passed the last stage, they could choose any sacred zone to join. What an enviable reward. But the fact was that this was the glory of a king. Earth Lord Tianqian was still calm. The petals wrapped around her disappeared. When she reappeared in front of everyone, she was still so beautiful. There was no injury on her body. Compared with Tianqian, she was really different. After Tianqian recovered, the surface of his body was scorched black. Obviously, he was hurt by the thunder. Of course, it was just a superficial injury, not an internal one. But from the outside, he was indeed a little worse than Earth Lord Tianqian. But he did not care about these things. It was enough that he could pass, regardless of the situation. He used his star power a little, and the scorch on the surface of his body disappeared completely. He looked no different from before. At first he was a little embarrassed, but at least he passed. He really passed. Nian Xiu grabbed the Heavenly Mandate Region Lord's arm excitedly, and began to shake it. Father, he passed. Region Lord, he really passed. She was so excited that she let it slip. Fortunately, no one noticed what happened on her side, so she did not know what she had said. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord was also very excited. It meant that Tianqian had joined the 2nd grade sacred zone in such a strong manner. The 9 region lords were so jealous that they were about to go crazy. Why did such a good thing not happen to them, but to the heavenly mandate region? Their people still needed to participate in the third round. Whether or not they would be chosen was still unknown. Now that Tianyan had been chosen, it was already a done deal. There would be no change. Congratulations to the two of you for successfully passing the 9th stage of the test. Your abilities are very strong, and your potential is even more extraordinary. Only then did Elder Go Huang acknowledge their abilities. He looked at them with a smile and said, "Now you can choose any of our 5 divine territories. You can join any divine territory you wish." The 5 elders looked at the two of them. Both of them were extremely outstanding geniuses. Compared to the geniuses on their side, they were not much weaker. In fact, they were even slightly stronger. If you join our God domain, we guarantee that you'll receive better treatment and a better place to cultivate. No, it's to join our God domain. Our God domain is even vaster, with vast lands and abundant resources. If you join us, we'll focus on grooming you. One by one, the elders started to state their advantages so that they could choose their God domain. However, each of the 5 divine territories was very powerful. Among them, the God domain that Elder Go Huang was at was the strongest among the 5 divine territories. If they had to choose, they would undoubtedly choose Elder Go Huang's God domain. Facing the invitations one after another, the contestants at the side were both jealous and envious. They all wanted to have such treatment. But the opportunity was already placed in front of them. It was just that they did not have the strength to seize it. Everyone's opportunities were the same. It was a pity that their strength was insufficient. It was useless even if they were jealous. This kind of honor was only obtained by 2 people. Among the hundreds of thousands of contestants, only 2 obtained it. The cruel elimination rate was truly shocking. Although there was still the 3rd round, the 2nd round eliminated the majority. It was already a cruel reality in front of everyone. Tianyan swept a glance over the 5 divine territories. As for which to choose, he had not considered it yet. Among the 5 divine territories, he had some understanding before. Among them, Elder Go Huang was undoubtedly the strongest. However, Elder Go Huang's God domain was not particularly good for him. For him, if he wanted to join a divine territory, good resources were not enough. The most important thing was the environment. Whether the environment was friendly or not was the key. For example, when he just arrived, there were all kinds of exclusion and discrimination. There was no atmosphere of unity at all. Joining was simply looking for trouble. However, this kind of treatment was limited to good races. With his current situation, he was afraid that he would continue to be excluded. This junior has not thought about it clearly. I want to complete the 3rd round before making a decision. Heavenly Lord spoke at this time. She did not choose immediately. Instead, she planned to participate in the 3rd round. Everyone was stunned. They did not understand what she meant at all. Elder Go Huang had clearly said that as long as one passed the 9th round, there was no need to participate in the 3rd round. Heavenly Lord, I have said before that there is no need to continue after the 9th round. Elder Go Huang repeated. This junior knows, but I want to participate in the 3rd round to prove my strength. Heavenly Lord smiled slightly. She was beautiful, but in the eyes of many territory lords, she was like a devil. Needless to say, to be able to persist until the 9th round, there was no one who could withstand her attack. Basically, anyone who met her would die. Now, she actually wanted to force a fight. Did she want to drag a bunch of people down from their high horses? The key was that her words were reasonable and no one could refute her. Elder Go Huang was stunned. They made this decision mainly because they did not want to break the balance. Those who could endure the 9th round were definitely not weak. Whoever met her would fail. This was simply bullying. Agree with her. It is equivalent to acting according to the previous plan. Elder Heavenly Wrath said. That's fine. This is not a problem. Elder Go Huang nodded and immediately turned to look at Tianyan and asked, What about you? Which territory lord will you choose? Heavenly Lord, Earthly Lord could choose to continue, and Tianyan could choose not to participate. There was no relationship between the two. When Tianyan was about to speak, Demon-eyed Earth Lord suddenly shouted at him. Don't leave if you dare, fight with me. Even if you can endure the 9th round, it does not mean that you can do it in other aspects. Yes, don't leave if you dare. Cloud Thunder Earth Lord shouted. He also did not want to watch Tianyan leave. Even if he lost, he would fight with Tianyan. Heavenly Lord, Earthly Lord, I think you will stay and fight, right? Heavenly Lord, Earthly Lord smiled at him and pointed to the side. Chapter 10:19. Heavenly Lord, Earth Lord actually knew Tianyan's plan. Did he want to intercept Earth Lord Tegu? Tianyan quickly denied this idea. It was obvious that Heavenly Lord, Earth Lord noticed his situation. But he paid more attention to Earth Lord Tegu. Tianyan did pay more attention to Earth Lord Tegu, and he often glanced at Earth Lord Tegu. Tianyan paid more attention to Earth Lord Tegu, and he often glanced at Earth Lord Tegu. Even though he didn't know Earth Lord Teji's situation, he didn't want Earth Lord Tegu to join the 5 major divine realms. Nian Xiu and the others were startled. This was a great opportunity. Why would they choose to continue to the 3rd stage? If they chose Elder Go Huang directly, then they could directly join the 2nd grade divine realm. If he directly chose Elder Go Huang, he would be able to join a grade 2 god realm right away. He wouldn't have to go through all the complicated procedures. Of course, no matter how you perform in the 3rd stage, the result will not change. You can still choose any divine realm you want. Our promise will not change. Elder Go Huang added. You can still choose any god domain you want. Our promise will not change, Elder Go Huang added. That's right. You can still choose any divine realm you want. There won't be any special factors, Elder Go Huang added. Nian Xiu and the others were relieved. If something happens in the 3rd stage, at least the result will not change. Of course, there is a special factor, and that is he died in the 3rd stage. Since he died, he naturally can't join the divine realm. Successfully accepted the side quest, win the 1st place in the divine realm battle to heaven. Reward: 1 trillion EXP, 10 million crazy points, 10 million proficiency points, and 1 divine realm lottery roulette ticket. The appearance of the side quest gave him a feeling that he hadn't felt for a long time. He only had the main quest now, which is to help him break through to 9th grade Earth Lord. Now that there is an additional side quest, it gives him a little reward. It seems that you are very concerned about my situation? Tianyan sent a voice transmission to Heavenly Lord, Earth Lord. I just happened to see you. I saw that you are paying attention to Earth Lord Tegu. Of course, I'm also paying close attention to him. I can feel an evil aura from him that makes me feel very uncomfortable. But I'm more interested than fighting with you, Heavenly Lord replied indifferently. Tianyan could see that her eyes were filled with a raging battle intent. She was a warmonger. Could it be that you chose to stay because you want to fight me? Tianyan said helplessly. Don't think too highly of yourself. I'm just a little interested in you. As for my real purpose, Tianqing smiled and said, it's not a good thing for a human like you to know too much. Tianyan's eyes narrowed. These words were truly piercing to the ear. It seemed like in her eyes, he was merely someone who was passing by and wanted to casually strike a blow. 1st place, he roughly guessed what was going on. Tianqing must have some task or been ordered to come here to win 1st place. It was very likely that in his heart, he did not want to join any God Realm faction at all. In essence, he was here to seize 1st place. But why did he do this made him a little curious. This made him look at the God Realm where Tianqing was at, Spirit Heart Realm. When he looked over there, all of them were expressionless, as if they did not feel much about Tianqing's actions. Is he using this Spirit Heart Realm as a springboard to do something? Tianyan began to feel that something was wrong. He followed him to look at the God Realm, where Earth Lord Turge was. Although they were excited, they did not seem to be on the same level as Nian Xiu. Nian Xiu and the others were excited enough. As for them, they did not seem to be very happy after obtaining a good result. Either they were threatened, or the rewards were not going to go to them. It was useless to be happy. This was just like Morong Xiao. Although Nian Xiu and the others were happy, they would definitely not be as happy as they were for him. After all, Morong Xiao had obtained a good result, but most of the rewards were not going to them. How could they be happy? External help was external help after all. It was just a little bit of face for them. However, the outside world would only see it as external help, and would not think that it was cultivated by them. After all, external help could be invited as long as there was money. No matter how he thought about it, he could not think of a reason and felt that something was wrong. But after thinking about it, he did not think too much about it. One thing was certain, Tianqing and Earth Lord Turge did not have any relationship. It was not a cooperative relationship. Just this point was enough for him. There was no need to think too much about it. I will now announce the rewards. Those who pass the 7th stage will be able to choose a mid-grade reincarnation grade treasure. Those who pass the 8th stage will be able to choose a high-grade reincarnation grade treasure. Those who pass the 9th stage will be able to choose any god realm in addition to choosing a high-grade reincarnation grade treasure. At the same time, they will be able to enter heaven pilfering sacred ground to cultivate for a month. Only those who reached the 7th stage would be able to receive rewards. The rewards were very generous. Reincarnation grade treasures seemed to be free. Only 2nd grade god realms could afford them. Heaven pilfering sacred ground. There are rewards from Heaven pilfering sacred ground. Heaven pilfering sacred ground, what is this place? You don't even know about Heaven pilfering sacred ground. As the name suggests, Heaven pilfering sacred ground steals energy from the heavens and allows one to cultivate for a long time. I am not sure about the specifics, but it is a very shocking place. It is a common cultivation ground in the 5 god realms. Even they can only send a few of their disciples to cultivate there. There is such a thing. They started to discuss. Some knew about it, some did not. Heaven pilfering sacred ground. It sounds a bit strange. Tianyan shook his head. It seemed that the rewards were not small. He would be able to get another high-grade reincarnation grade treasure later. Previously, he had to risk his life to get high-grade reincarnation grade treasures. But here he was giving them away as if they were free. Immediately after, the temple was summoned again. They all rushed in to get their rewards. Tianyan also followed in. The moment he entered, he saw Earth Lord Demon Eye standing at the door, obviously waiting for him to come in. You have some strength, but don't think that you can win the battlefield just because you passed the 9th stage. Earth Lord Demon Eye sneered. It seems that you know the content of the 3rd stage? Tianyan said indifferently. Of course I know. The content that will never change is the battle. Earth Lord Demon Eye sneered. There are many changes on the battlefield. This can show one's strength. Being attacked continuously is not a skill. Chapter 10:20. Tianyan felt that Earth Lord Demon Eye's words were hilarious. He was least afraid of this kind of battle. He felt that he would not lose to anyone in terms of battle experience. Even though his bone age was relatively low, he fought his way up from the bottom of the 3 realms. He had been through actual battles all along the way, and there was never any sparring to speak of. It was a life and death battle the moment he stepped onto the stage, and there was no chance to surrender. That's right, a battle. Earth Lord Demon Eye's snake eyes flickered with cold murderous intent. This is the stage of a true genius. Only being able to endure and take a beating is not a skill. By then, you will be like a target in front of me, and I can squash you at will. Is that so? I am looking forward to it. I have always hoped that someone could squash me. Tianyan smiled and walked inside. He could not be bothered with him anymore. Earth Lord Demon Eye's eyes were cold as he stared at Yi Futian's back. He flicked out his snake tongue and looked completely like a human-shaped snake. He had the bloodline of a snake, and it was not an ordinary bloodline. He was good at using poison. Many things could only be used in a battle. For example, no matter how terrifying the poison was, it was useless in the 2nd stage. It could not possibly poison the divine lightning to death, right? They were not good at some things, but they would not lose to anyone in a battle. To them, a battle was the place to prove themselves. After all, no matter how powerful a genius was, if he died in their hands, he would not be a genius, but a fool. As soon as Tianyan entered, Morong Xiao patted his shoulder and said in surprise, "Big brother Tianyan, you are too amazing. You even made it through the 9th stage. There are only 2 people who can make it to the 9th stage." Luck. Tianyan smiled. Luck my ass. Why don't I have this luck? Murong Xiao curled his lips. Now, I can obtain another superior grade reincarnation grade treasure. I am so envious. Is that so? I think it's okay. Immediately after, Ling Yunfeng also came over to congratulate Tianyun, expressing his admiration for Tianyun. Being able to endure the 9th stage. How could he be weak? After saying a few words to them, he did not choose any weapon. Instead, he chose a high-grade reincarnation grade Dharma treasure. As for weapons, he did not have much feelings for them. Treasures were still his priority. After all of them had made their selections, the Temple of Light was recruited back. At this moment, the atmosphere gradually became oppressive. Many people's gazes were fixed on Tianyan. If they could defeat Tianyan, it would undoubtedly increase their bargaining chips. If they could defeat Tianyan, who had survived the 9th stage, they would definitely be able to achieve meteoric success. As for Tianqing and Earthly Lord, they did not dare to think too much. Tianyan seemed a little easier to deal with. Tianqing and Dijun faced the 9th stage of the test as easily as drinking water. There was no pressure at all. Tianyan felt the gazes around him, but he did not care at all. Elder Go Huang glanced at the crowd. The 5 great elders had discussed with each other before, and their eyes were a bit mischievous, as if they were plotting something. After the discussion of the 5 great elders, the 3rd stage is a competition. This has always been the same process. The point is that this time there are 2 more contestants who have survived the 9th stage. If any of you fight against them and defeat one of them, you can also choose any deity realm to join, and you will be rewarded by stealing from heaven and earth. When Elder Go Huang announced this, the remaining more than 100 contestants were immediately in an uproar. Their gazes once again focused on Tianyan and Tianqing and Earthly Lord. Among them, there were more gazes gathered on Tianyan. They felt that Tianyan was easier to deal with. God is on my side. If I defeat him, I can prove my strength. Demon-eyed Earthly Lord's eyes turned cold. He felt that this was an opportunity. He was not the only one who thought so. Even Yuan Tianyu thought so. They were all thinking about how to plot against Tianyan. In a competition, any attack was not too much. As long as it could defeat the opponent, it would be the best move. It seems that you have become popular. Everyone wants to defeat you. Murong Xiao teased him from the side. Brother Tianyan, if you meet me in the future, please let me go and admit defeat. In this way, I can easily join the 5 great divine realms. If you meet me, I will definitely let you go. Tianyan smiled. You said it yourself. If you ever meet me, remember to surrender immediately. Murong Xiao said with a smile. No problem. Tianyan smiled. He knew that these old and cunning elders would not make such an arrangement. Next, let's arrange your next opponents. Elder Go Huang waved his hand. More than 150 rays of light descended from the sky and landed in their hands. Each of them had a token with the corresponding number engraved on it. Your opponents are the same number as the number on your token. Elder Go Huang explained. Tianyan looked at the token in his hand. The number 59 foot was written on it. At the same time, he sensed something. When he looked up, his opponent was very familiar. Yu Qingling. He did not expect that his first opponent would be Yu Qingling, the representative of the Fire Jade God realm. Yu Qingling also looked over. Her beautiful eyes revealed a hint of pleasant surprise, but there was even more determination. She felt that her chance had come. Young Master Tianyan, if you admit defeat, I will be at your disposal. I will do whatever you want me to do. I can serve you for 1,000 years. In 1,000 years, I will do whatever you want. Her beautiful eyes revealed a hint of temptation, tempting him with the simplest and crudest conditions. Serve me for 1,000 years? Tianyan smiled. That's right. If young Master Tianyan is still not satisfied, you can continue to increase the time. During this time, you can do whatever you want to me. Her enchanting eyes seemed to be dripping water. They looked extremely alluring. No, it seems like you misunderstood me. I just said that 1,000 years is too long. I feel like I'm going to vomit if you serve me for a day. Yi Tianyan looked at her coldly and transmitted his voice. If I keep you by my side for 1,000 years, I probably won't even need to cultivate anymore. Serve whoever you want to serve. Don't look at me with those disgusting eyes. Yu Qingling trembled with anger. She had already gone all out. She had already paid a huge price to lock herself by a person's side for 1,000 years. Who knew that Yi Tianyan would not buy it? Instead, he felt that she was disgusting. How could someone as beautiful as her endure this? Chapter 1021. After knowing their opponents, they all came to the fighting ring and were ready to start. I drew Lord Qingtian. One of the opponent's legs were trembling. He really did not expect that his opponent would be Lord Qingtian. This was a situation of certain death. The others looked at him with sympathetic gazes. Who would have thought that they would get Heaven Atlas? Everyone prayed in their hearts that they would not meet Heaven Atlas or Yi Tianyan. Some of the contestants knew their limits and naturally did not dare to go against Yi Tianyan. If he were to face them head-on, he would definitely die. Buzz. At this time, the shield began to rise and wrapped around the contestants. As the arena was very large, it was not a problem to divide it into more than 70 areas. Moreover, it was very spacious. If you want to admit defeat, you must escape from the battle area. If you are sent flying or escape on your own, you will be eliminated. Elder Go Huang explained the general rules of the duel. During the duel, no matter what kind of move, weapon, or method you use, there is no taboo at all. All you need to do is to win the duel. This rule was like a demon in their hearts, filling their hearts. Especially since no matter what method they used, as long as they could win, they would be the king. The last point is about the reward. Those who can get into the top 10 will definitely be able to join our 5 major divine realms. Of course, we chose you, not the other way around. Elder Go Huang said in a deep voice. Within the top 20, there is at least a 50% chance that we will choose you. Of course, no matter what the final ranking is, you will receive a certain reward. As for the reward, it will depend on your final performance. Now the battle officially begins. With Elder Go Huang's announcement, the battle officially began. Every divine realm paid attention to the situation of the contestants they sent out. Some of the contestants sent out by the divine realms had all failed. This meant that they could only sit here and watch the battle. This was undoubtedly the most pitiful. Others won the honor, but they could only watch and envy. I'm sorry, but your Fire Jade God Realm's representative is now facing our representative. It's only the first round, and you're going to be eliminated. What a pity. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord was extremely pleased and couldn't help but mock the Fire Jade Dominion. Previously, he had been ridiculed by them. Now he could finally slap them in the face. The battle isn't over yet. Nothing has been decided yet. Heavenly Mandate Region Master, it is better not to be too full of yourself about some things. Your people have performed well before, but if they are not up to standard, they will be very powerful in the competition. The Fire Jade Region Master naturally would not admit defeat. He had to stiffen his neck and retort. Is that so? Some things are already destined. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord laughed out loud. Their faces became more and more gloomy. Sure enough, they had to pay for what they had done. In the arena, Yi Tianyan was facing Yu Qingling, a woman that he had detested before. She had used the art of charm to charm so many people to her side. Most importantly, she wanted to charm him and make him one of her supporters. Charm spacetime. Yu Qingling was not long-winded at all. This was just the beginning. Her eyes instantly released a 5-colored light. The essence blood in her body was instantly ignited, and all of it was added to her eyes. In addition, she took out a few elixirs and stuffed them into her mouth. This elixir was not a violent elixir, but a kind of charm divine elixir, which could greatly enhance the effect of her charm. Obviously, she wanted to fully activate her charm power and take down Yi Tianyan. She was really going all out. She burned all kinds of essence blood and took all kinds of elixirs. In her hand was a middle-grade reincarnation-grade treasure. When she threw it out, the air was shrouded in 5-colored light. In an instant, this space began to be filled with charm, shrouding every corner. You force me to do all of this. Open it all. Yu Qingling screamed and threw out all of her trump cards. Soon, the scene in front of Yi Tianyan began to change. Countless beautiful women constantly surrounded him. No matter what kind of women he liked, they were all now in front of him. Not only were there beautiful women, but there were also countless treasures piled up like a mountain and placed on the side. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyan entered a special space. That was the charm space-time. It could completely release one's inner desires and present the things they liked the most. Fall into your greediest dream. You can die in your own dream. Yu Qingling saw that Yi Tianyan was standing there motionlessly. She knew that Yi Tianyan had already fallen into her charm. She believed that the more ambitious one was, the easier it was to fall into her charm. Even a super expert would fall into her charm when she used all of her strength. Oh no, Yi Tianyan's cultivation is breaking through too quickly. Will his foundation be unstable? What Nian Xiaoyu and the others were worried about had come. If his foundation was unstable, it would be easy for him to go berserk and fall into the other party's charm. They could see that Yu Qingling was going all out, and had used all of her trump cards. Even if the Lord of Heaven encountered her, he would fall into this predicament. His cultivation is breaking through very quickly. Maybe he really fell for it. Their hearts sank. If Yi Tianyan fell for it, he would be at her mercy. Especially since Yu Qingling was going all out. If they were in her shoes, they would do the same. Elder Go Huang had said that as long as he defeated one of them, he could join the 5 divine realms unconditionally. In that case, if he defeated them, it didn't matter anymore. Why would he need to hide his strength? He could just reveal it. Haha, that kid must have fallen for it. So what if his talent is good? Yu Qingling has a natural charm body. As long as the difference in cultivation is not too big, she can successfully charm someone. Especially if she uses all of her strength, this kid will definitely die. The Fire Jade Region Master laughed loudly. He felt that Yi Tianyan would definitely lose. As long as Yi Tianyan lost, they would be the winners. The Heavenly Mandate Region Master and the others were worried. Were they really doomed? Let me see what your inner world is like. Yu Qingling walked over step by step. Her eyes were releasing colorful light. She had been releasing her power to the maximum. If she didn't do that, she was worried that she wouldn't be able to control Yi Tianyan. She had to be cautious. She really wanted to stab Yi Tianyan's neck. However, she couldn't do that. Once she did that, her cultivation would definitely collapse. She could only move step by step. Chapter 10:22. Yu Qingling walked toward Yi Tianyan step by step. Every step felt like she was stepping on the hearts of Nian Xiyu and the others, and they felt extremely depressed. Wake up, wake up. They kept shouting, hoping that Yi Tianyan would wake up. If he lost, everything would be over. It didn't matter if Yi Tianyan lost. The problem was that Yu Qingling would kill Yi Tianyan, and that would mean something different. After all, even if Yi Tianyan lost, he could still join the 5 sacred realms. But if he died, everything would be in vain. It's useless. Do you think the other side can hear you if you shout here? The Fire Jade Region Mistress mocked them. She felt that they were doing a useless job. Nian Xiyu and the others' hearts sank. This was indeed true, especially with the shield on the side. Normal voices could be heard, but it was meaningless. After all, it was the power of charm. Normal shouting had no effect at all. If they shouted with star power, they could definitely wake up Yi Tianyan. Not to mention the situation outside the shield, there were more rules and restrictions. If they rushed down without permission, Yi Tianyan's result would be judged invalid, which would be even more cruel. After all, there was a rule that they could not interfere in the competition. Once they did, they would be judged to have failed. Not only would Yi Tianyan lose his qualification, but even the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Realm would be kicked out, and they would not be allowed to enter in the future. Yu Qingling walked toward Yi Tianyan step by step. A sharp dagger appeared in her hand. As she walked, she said, "Huh? I can't see your memory?" When the opponent was charmed, Yu Qingling could enter the charm world of the opponent and see the memory of the opponent. But now she couldn't even enter. She was completely blocked outside. Forget it. It doesn't matter. As long as I get rid of you, everything will be mine. Yu Qingling's eyes were full of fanaticism. As long as she killed Yi Tianyan, all the glory would be hers. Soon, she arrived in front of Yi Tianyan. She raised the dagger in her hand and stabbed it into Yi Tianyan's head. No, Nian Xiaoyu screamed, but her scream couldn't stop Yu Qingling's attack. The heavenly mandate region lord closed his eyes. In the end, he revealed a look of pain. He felt that everything was over. Bang! Yu Qingling's hand that was about to stab down was firmly grabbed by another hand. She was unable to stab down at all. You're quite bold. Have you forgotten my warning? Yi Tianyan looked at her coldly. You're all right. Yu Qingling was stunned. She never thought that she would be unable to charm Yi Tianyan even after using all her strength. This trashy charm technique has an effect on me? I've been waiting for you here for half a day. Yi Tianyan laughed coldly. The thing I hate the most in my life is people who want to read other people's memories. Originally, defeating me was enough, but you still want to kill me. As soon as he finished speaking, his palm moved as fast as lightning towards Yu Qingling's eyes. In the next moment, her charming eyes were ruthlessly dug out. Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, Yu Qingling was sent flying backwards. Blood continuously flowed out of her empty eyes, making her look extremely terrifying. The surrounding charm space-time instantly disappeared. Due to Yu Qingling's charm power, it was all gathered in her eyes. Now that both of her eyes had been dug out by Yi Tianyan, she naturally couldn't continue using charm space-time. It could be said that her charm power had been crippled. Her talent originally came from her eyes, so being dug out naturally meant that she was crippled. You dug out my eyes. Yu Qingling screamed miserably and reached out to cover her eyes. I've said it before. If you continue to charm me, I'll dig out your eyes. If you hadn't charmed me before, I would have considered letting you go. Unfortunately, you've missed this opportunity. When I said I'll dig out your eyes, I'll dig out your eyes. Yi Tianyan's gaze was ice cold. Even though Yu Qingling was a peerlessly beautiful woman, he was still ruthless. I am going to kill you. Yu Qingling screamed and charged over. Even though she didn't have eyes, she could still use her spiritual sense to investigate the situation in front of her. When she rushed in front of Yi Tianyan kicked her away. After rolling on the ground several times, she directly vomited blood and collapsed to the ground. You actually crippled my cultivation. Yu Qingling's delicate body trembled. She discovered that her cultivation had been completely destroyed by Yi Tianyan's kick. The terrifying power made her feel fear. Is there a problem? Yi Tianyan didn't explain anything to her. This was the battlefield, especially since Yu Qingling had wanted to kill him just now. Why should he show mercy? Her body trembled as she begged for mercy in horror. Please give me back my eyes. I was wrong. I'm willing to give up everything. I'm willing to admit defeat. There's no need for that. Get out of here. Yi Tianyan waved his hand and a force swept over, blowing her away. After rolling out of the arena, it meant that she was out of the game. Logically speaking, with her cultivation, she could use medicinal pills to heal her eyes and grow them back. However, this pair of bewitching eyes wouldn't grow back, so she begged for mercy to get them back. How could Yi Tianyan let her do as she wished? He also didn't want this pair of eyes. Bear. The flames burned this pair of eyes to ashes, and there was no way for them to recover. After kicking Yu Qingling out, the arena quickly returned to its original state, and the barrier also disappeared. Yi Tianyan looked up, and saw that most of the people around him had finished their battles. Only his side was a bit slower. It was just that this ruthless display caused many people's hearts to tremble. Just now Yu Qingling had risked everything to charm him, but it didn't work at all. Instead, her eyes were dug out. This kind of strength made those who had tried their best to fight a little timid. However, the people of the heavenly mandate realm were ecstatic. This kid did it on purpose. Nian Xiu breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they didn't lose, or they would really be finished. The Huoyu region master's face was extremely ugly. They thought they had succeeded, but now it seemed that they were too naive. Yi Tianyan didn't work at all, and he even eliminated the help they had invited. He dug out Yu Qingling's eyes. The Yu family will definitely not let him go. The Huoyu region master gnashed his teeth. The Yu family? Nian Xiu sneered and said, I don't know if the Yu family is stronger, or if the geniuses in the second-grade god realm who are treated well are stronger. As soon as this was said, the Huiyu region master's face turned pale. He didn't even need to think to know that he absolutely couldn't provoke the second-grade god realm. Once he did, not to mention the Yu family, even a god realm would be destroyed. Chapter 1023. The Fire Jade region lord obediently shut up. His head was muddled. After all, the most promising person had been eliminated. How could he not go crazy? Although Yu Qingling was an external helper, she also represented the Fire Jade region's reputation. They definitely hoped that Yu Qingling could go a little further. This would at least bring some reputation to the Fire Jade region. Even if she was an external helper, she would at least represent them. Now she was completely crippled. Her eyes were gouged out, and her cultivation was crippled. How could he not be angry when he lost in the first round? But no matter how angry he was, he didn't dare to show any temper in front of someone who would become a grade 2 god realm in the future. It didn't matter even if he was a region lord, because if Yi Tianyan continued to nurture him, surpassing him wouldn't be a problem. After Yi Tianyan killed Yu Qingling, he looked to the side and saw that everyone was looking at him expressionlessly, as if they were already used to his actions. His actions could be considered merciful. If it were anyone else, they would have killed Yu Qingling. Of course, Yi Tianyan had always been merciful. After crippling her, she would forever live in fear. Although killing her would give him more experience, he had always been more merciful to enemies who provoked him. Looking around, there were still many familiar faces. Morong Xiao and Ling Yinfeng successfully advanced. This was no surprise. The two of them were strong to begin with, so advancing wasn't a problem. But after the first round, half of the participants were eliminated. The first round is over. I'll give you 3 days to rest before the next round. As Elder Go Huang announced, he waved his hand. More than 70 rays of light enveloped them, and a brand new token appeared in their hands. Yi Tianyan found that the token in his hand was number 18. Sensing it, he looked up and saw the familiar snake eyes. The corners of the other party's mouth curled into a deep smile, as if he could foresee his victory. Even though he had seen Yi Tianyan's violence, he wasn't afraid at all. To think that I would bump into you so soon. Yi Tianyan looked at Earth Lord Demon Eye. His next opponent was naturally Earth Lord Demon Eye. Demon Eye Earth Monarch's eyes were filled with excitement. Yu Qingling couldn't deal with Yi Tianyan, but that didn't mean he couldn't. He was still full of confidence in himself. If he didn't even have this little bit of confidence, how could he fight his way to the champion's throne? 3 days later, it will be the day of your death. Earth Monarch Demon Eye walked to his side and said coldly, Actually, I also hate those eyes of yours. Yi Tianyan said lightly. The demonic Eye Earth Monarch paused for a moment before his snake eyes emitted shocking killing intent. You want to dig my eyes out? Let's see if your hands have the ability to do so. The battle had not yet begun, but there was already some friction between them. This arrangement was clearly the intention of these elders. Each and every one of their actions were observed by them. If the opponent was too weak, there was no doubt that there would be nothing to watch. For example, there was nothing special about Tianqing and Earthly Lord. The opponents they arranged were all relatively ordinary. In their opinion, Tianqing and Earthly Lord was stronger than Yi Tianyan. If they sent people like Demon Eye Earth Monarch, they would undoubtedly be killed in seconds. If they faced Yi Tianyan, there would be more to watch. To put it bluntly, in the eyes of the 5 elders, Yi Tianyan's strength was much weaker than Tianqing and Earthly Lord's, which was why they felt this way. Although they both passed the 9th stage of the test, they felt that Yi Tianyan barely passed it. In addition, he was not as strong as Tianqing and Earthly Lord. They felt that he was a native who had been using the most ordinary method to resist, and did not let them see any great abilities. Little did they know that Yi Tianyan had many abilities, but he was just too lazy to show them. If he could solve the problem with a punch, he would never kick. Then for the rest of the time, they started to rest. I didn't expect that I would have to face that damned ladyboy. Morong Xiao pouted, feeling very dissatisfied. Damned ladyboy? Tianyun looked at the token in her hand, then looked up and saw Earth Monarch Sun Shui in front of him. It was indeed Earth Monarch Sun Shui. Yes, it's him. I didn't expect to face him. Morong Xiao smiled and said. But it's just right to face him. There isn't too much of a conflict between the attributes, so I can slightly restrain him. Although wood did not restrain water, at least it would not encounter fire. Don't be careless, he doesn't look like an easy opponent. Tianyun looked at Earth Monarch Sun Shui, who was meditating at the side. The data displayed by the appraisal undoubtedly proved that his strength was not that easy to deal with. Isn't that for sure? Earth Monarch Sun Shui is quite capable, and his reputation is not weak outside. Morong Xiao looked relaxed, but her beautiful eyes revealed some cautiousness. To be able to persist until now, there was absolutely no one with weak strength. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and they all entered the arena to face their opponents. Tianyun's opponent was naturally Earth Monarch Demon Eye, the opponent that he had provoked since the beginning. Now that he was finally standing on the arena, his demonic snake eyes revealed a cold aura. Don't disappoint me. Earth Monarch Demon Eye's eyes flickered with demonic light. He waved his hand lightly, and a long whip appeared in his hand. If one looked closely, this long whip was like a thin snake, and it began to wriggle, wrapping around his leg. It looked exactly like a snake. I should be the one saying that. If it's too easy, then it won't be a challenge at all. Tianyun said indifferently. Arrogant. Demon-eyed Earth Emperor grabbed the long whip in his hand, and threw it on the ground. Pa! A deep ditch was left on the ground. I would like to see if you can withstand one move from me. Suddenly, Tianyun quickly turned around and kicked behind him. Bang! A figure was kicked out. That figure slid back for tens of meters, and barely stopped. His arms that were covered in snake scales were slightly dented, and his arms were almost broken from the kick. How about now have you withstood one move from me? Tianyun looked at the figure in front of him indifferently. In front of him was Earth Monarch Demon Eye. The Earth Monarch Demon Eye that was originally behind him started to disappear, and it was actually an illusion. This was just the beginning, and he had already cast an illusion without anyone noticing. The surrounding participants were shocked. They did not know what was going on, and the opponent cast an illusion. Chapter 1024. You actually saw through my illusions. The demonic Earthly Emperor narrowed his eyes. He had been using his illusions to distract Tianyun from the front, but had not attacked. Especially since he had been conversing with Yi Shiwen. It looked even more realistic. His illusions were different from Jade Clear Spirit's charm. He did not need to enter Tianyun's heart. All he needed to do was to create an illusion in front of him to deceive his opponent. Of course, this illusion did not have any offensive power. This was why the demonic Earthly Emperor did not allow the illusion to attack. I saw through such a weak illusion with a single glance. There's no aura at all. It's really fake. Do you think you can deal with me like this? You're too naive. What do you think this place is? Is it a place that anyone can enter? Tianyun shook his head. Even without the appraisal eye, he could sense that the demonic Earthly Emperor's aura was too weak. There was obviously something wrong. If he was fooled by this, it was undoubtedly because he was subdued by his opponent. That was why he was fooled by the demonic Earthly Emperor's illusions. This was especially true during an intense battle. It was easy to confuse the opponent. You have some skills. Don't be too arrogant. The demonic Earthly Emperor shouted in anger. Is that so? Then I'll let you experience what an illusion is. Tianyun's figure flashed, and 3 figures appeared around him. They looked exactly like him. 3 illusions. So what if they're 3 illusions? They're still not illusions. Do they have any power? Just as the demonic Earthly Emperor was about to continue, the 3 illusions had already pounced on him. Each of the illusions was extremely agile, and they began to attack the demonic Earthly Emperor. The demonic Earthly Emperor was not afraid at all. He straightened his body and stood in front of the illusions. He thought that these illusions were not powerful. As far as he was concerned, he had not seen any illusions that had any offensive power. Therefore, he was not afraid at all. He thought that these illusions were just paper tigers. Slap. 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 The 3 illusions ruthlessly slapped his face a few times and kicked him a few times. Bang. 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 3 consecutive kicks were launched. The devil-eyed earthly lord let out a muffled groan as he was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood and rolled on the ground a few times. What is going on? The devil-eyed earth lord was horrified. He never expected Etienne's attack to be so effective. Not to mention him, even the 5 elders were shocked. They had never seen illusions being effective before. If there was, it would definitely be a good martial art. At least, they had never seen such a martial art before. It seems that our judgment was wrong. It seems that he had some luck, or perhaps he has a good master. That's right. Just this means that his foundation isn't bad. To be able to reach this level, without a powerful master, it's impossible to do so, right? Of course, it could be a fortuitous encounter. There are so many fortuitous encounters in the outside world. Who knows, it might be the inheritance of some almighty being. The 5 elders all nodded in agreement. Etienne showed a little bit of skill, and immediately made everyone look at him in a new light. He displayed extraordinary strength. At least it was better than just using his fists and the like before. Nian Xiu's eyes lit up. They naturally knew that Etienne's skill level was not bad. It seemed that he could also win this round. However, the Dragon Snake Domain Lord, who had the Devil-eyed Earth Lord, was not very happy. At this time, the Dragon Snake Domain Lord stood up and shouted at the Devil-eyed Earth Lord. "What are you doing? Give it your all." The Devil-eyed Earth Lord, who stood up, narrowed his eyes and stared at Etienne. He wiped the blood from his mouth and looked at him coldly. "You have the right to make me give it my all." His demonic eyes burst out with a green light. Snake scales began to appear all over his body, and soon, they covered his entire body. His body now looked like a giant python. His body was covered in thick scales, and the most important thing was that there was poison that was being released from his body. Wherever the poison went, it began to corrode the ground, turning it dark green. It looked very disgusting, as if a large patch of green dye had been dyed. On the stained ground, green poison gas began to emit and spread in all directions. If this continued, the poison would definitely cover the entire arena. When that time came, Etienne would not be able to escape. Whoosh! The Devil-eyed Earth Lord did not wait for Etienne to make a move. As soon as he released the poison, he rushed toward Etienne. When he turned into his snake form, his speed increased tremendously. He streaked across the sky like a bolt of green lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Etienne. Sizzle! The snake's forked tongue rang in Etienne's ears. Before he knew it, the Devil-eyed Earth Lord had already reached him. He opened his mouth and bit at him. His long snake body also wrapped around him. At this moment, Etienne's figure flashed and dodged the snake's wrapping. He turned around and kicked the demon-eyed Holy Lord. However, the spot he kicked slipped away with a whoosh. It felt like he was kicking a slippery surface. He couldn't exert any strength at all. The Devil-eyed Earth Lord followed his kick and instantly wrapped around him. The long whip in his hand also wrapped around him, wanting to lock him in place. Scram! Etienne's eyes turned cold. His body suddenly expanded and turned into the huge body of the evil demon god. Terrifying flames started to burn rapidly. When the 2 top-notch demonic flames were used, the black flames that fused together were enough to burn everything. The Devil-eyed Earth Lord was immediately forced to retreat. However, a small area was still burned by the demonic flames. Black smoke continuously rose from his body. It seemed that the green liquid on his body could be used as a flame retardant to block the flames. Demonic flames. After the Devil-eyed Earth Lord retracted, he looked at him and laughed. "Not bad, but you're finished. You've been poisoned by so much of my poison." Etienne, who had turned into the body of the evil demon god, started to be infected by the green poison on his legs and body. This meant that he was gradually being corroded by the poison. The Devil-eyed Earth Lord was most proud of his poison. Even if he was facing the Lord of Heaven, he would still be poisoned to death. Even if he was not poisoned to death, his combat strength would be greatly reduced. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for his opponent. Damn it, these poisons are really difficult to deal with. Nian and the others gritted their teeth. Most cultivators were very afraid of poison. The moment they came into contact with it, it would immediately seep into their bodies. It could be said that this was an opponent that no one wanted to face. The Dragon Snake Territory Lord smiled slightly. This was the effect he wanted. When the Devil-Eyed Earth Lord used his full strength, no one could withstand it. Chapter 1025. The terrifying poison was quickly burned away by Yi Tianyun's black flame. His 2 flames could expel poison. Although it couldn't completely expel the poison, it could still expel most of it. It didn't affect him much. What? My poison? Earth Emperor Demon Eye's eyes, which were filled with ecstasy, immediately turned terrifyingly gloomy. He saw that the demon fire on Yi Tianyun's body started to incinerate the poison, turning it into piles of black smoke that spread in all directions. As for the poison penetrating into Yi Tianyun's body, it seems that it is impossible. The original green poison was quickly eliminated. What kind of flame is this black flame? Dragon Snake Region Master stood up in shock. He thought that as long as Earth Emperor Demon Eye threw out the poison, even if the opponent could withstand it, he wouldn't be able to get rid of it easily. Now it seemed that they had greatly underestimated Yi Tianyun's ability. The black flame wasn't an ordinary flame. It was a very terrifying flame, and it was a demon fire that could detoxify poison. He has 2 types of demon fire, so he won't be poisoned so easily. Nian and the others were pleasantly surprised. They all knew Yi Tianyun's ability, so they naturally knew that his 2 flames could suppress poison. Yu Yonglong and the others could suppress poison themselves, not to mention Yi Tianyun, who had 2 types of demon fire. Soon the poison was dealt with. Yi Tianyun walked towards Earth Emperor Demon Eye step by step. With every step he took, the flame left a mark on the ground. You've attacked so many times. It's finally my turn to attack, right? Yi Tianyun turned his head and looked at him. I should say, I've let you down so many times. It's my turn to attack. Earth Emperor Demon Eye's eyes turned cold. He didn't reply. His snake body twisted and turned into a shadow that rolled over. A gigantic python phantom appeared in the void of space, enveloping the entire area. In the next moment, the demonic Eye Earth Emperor and the giant python's shadow merged into one. In the blink of an eye, a huge python that covered the sky appeared in everyone's sight. It sprayed black poison at Yi Tianyun, covering the area where Yi Tianyun was. When he thought he could suppress Yi Tianyun, a black figure dashed out of the poison. A small snake dares to be so arrogant. Yi Tianyun's deep voice rumbled like thunder. He stretched out his hand in the void and formed a huge black flame palm that slapped down. Demon-eyed Earth Monarch's enormous body was slammed to the ground by the giant palm formed from black flames. The scorching flame started to burn Earth Emperor Demon Eye's body. It made a sizzling sound and black smoke kept rising. Oh! Earth Emperor Demon Eye was burned to death. He quickly shrunk his body and wanted to escape from Yi Tianyun's palm. But how could Yi Tianyun let him escape so easily? He squeezed Earth Emperor Demon Eye in his palm. You want to escape? Have you asked me? Yi Tianyun held him so tightly that he couldn't escape. The terrifying power completely suppressed Earth Emperor Demon Eye. He didn't even have the strength to resist. Especially the terrifying black flame. He was in so much pain that he wanted to die. The snake scales on his body started to be burnt black. Yi Tianyun's cultivation was lower than his, but in terms of overall strength, he was much stronger than Earth Emperor Demon Eye. He didn't even need to use the crazy damage mode. It was enough to crush Earth Emperor Demon Eye. Damn it! Dragon Snake Region Master's eyes were cold. When he saw Earth Emperor Demon Eye being suppressed so easily, he sat down paralyzed. He knew that everything was over. They had greatly underestimated Yi Tianyun's strength. Earth Emperor Demon Eye was powerful, but he couldn't even resist Yi Tianyun's attack. His slippery body was useless to Yi Tianyun. He was locked in Earth Emperor Demon Eye's hand and couldn't break free. Unknowingly, his body had become huge. The huge body of an evil fiend celestial was enough to look down on everyone. The 5 great elders were shocked by this situation. It was beyond their expectations. Dragon Snake. Evolution. Earth Emperor Demon Eye roared. Green energy surged out of his body, and his form started to change. His snake body started to turn into a dragon's head. His fighting strength soared crazily. Under his violence, Etienne's clenched fists started to open up bit by bit. His strength continued to rise as if there was no end to it. A lowly human wants to climb over our heads? Impossible. I want you dead. I want you to die. Earth Emperor Demon Eye's snake scales started to be covered by a layer of dragon scales. Under the double coverage, his defense became even more shocking. One could even hear the roar of a dragon coming from his body. It was as if this snake was going to evolve into a giant dragon. Dragon snake bloodline, interesting. But a worm is a worm, never a dragon. No matter how lowly a human is, it's still better than you bastards. Etienne snorted and clenched his fist. With a crack, Earth Emperor Demon Eye's bones were crushed. The flames even burned him into charcoal. Demon Eye. Dragon Snake Region Master's heart was about to bleed, but he couldn't stop it. He could only watch as Earth Emperor Demon Eye was burned to death. Then, Etienne threw Earth Emperor Demon Eye's corpse out. When it fell from the sky, it turned into a pile of charcoal powder. Let alone resurrecting it, it's already good enough to put it back together. Of course, in his current state, it's already ashes. There's no need to burn it himself. Ding. Successfully killed Earth Emperor Demon Eye. Reward, 970 billion EXP, 10 million crazy points, 600,000 SPs. Items obtained. Dragon Snake Bloodline Rare, Demon Eye Technique Rare, Dragon Snake Whip Mid-Grade Reincarnation Level Weapon, Dragon Snake Ring Mid-Grade Reincarnation Level Treasure. After killing it, it dropped a lot of things. This is the feeling of killing it. The reward will definitely be a lot. Originally, he wanted to keep the other party alive, but unfortunately he met an idiot, so don't blame him for being merciless. This kid is really unfathomable. The few of us old fellows all thought that we knew his background, but we didn't expect it to be so much more. Yes, it seems that this arrangement is wrong, but it's too late to change it now, right? It's okay, continue to arrange it anyway. They were shocked, but it was still within the range of expectations. They knew that Etienne's potential was very good, but they didn't expect him to have such explosive power. However, this kind of explosive power was nothing to people like them who had seen the world. There were even stronger explosive powers. Chapter 1026. By the time Etienne was done, many of the contestants had yet to finish their battles. This battle did not end so quickly. After all, the remaining contestants were all extremely powerful existences. Some of them finished their battles quickly. For example, Earthly Lord Skyfire and Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder had already finished their battles without any suspense. As for Morong Xiao and Earthly Lord Snowforest, they were in a stalemate. The battle between the two was white-hot, neither giving way. However, Etienne could see that Morong Xiao's situation was more stable. With her divine wood body, she could move freely in the face of extreme frost energy. As long as I keep this up, there's no doubt I'll win this battle. Then he looked at Ling Yanfeng's side. His opponent was Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder. Under Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder's violent power, Ling Yanfeng was constantly suppressed. The berserk heavenly lightning made him unable to fight back. He was holding on and did not choose to admit defeat. However, his body was covered in cuts and bruises from the heavenly lightning. If this continued, even if Ling Yanfeng did not die, he would be crippled by the lightning. Because of the lightning, his movements were not very nimble. Who asked you to be on good terms with that human? Who asked you to go against me? Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was like a god of thunder as he smashed his fists over and over again. He didn't use any weapons, just his fists. Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder's body was very strong, so he did not need any weapons to suppress everything. Brother E is a good person. It has nothing to do with race. You racist people don't know what a friend is. Ling Yanfeng did not relent even though he was being crushed. Instead, he chose to speak up for Etienne. Ling Yanfeng was an extremely stubborn person. Once he made up his mind, he would not go back on his words. He felt that Etienne was a good person, so he would not say anything that would harm Tianyan. Friend? Will your Ling family vomit blood if they hear you say that? What a joke to be friends with a human. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder punched Ling Yunfeng again and again. His punches weren't very powerful, but they were enough to injure him. Clearly, Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder was doing this on purpose. He wanted to mess with Ling Yanfeng. Given Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder's situation, he could easily crush Ling Yanfeng. He just didn't want it to end so quickly. It has nothing to do with race. Besides, who says humans are weak? His strength is not inferior to anyone. Even you will be defeated by Brother E. Even though Ling Yunfeng was beaten up, his tone was full of certainty. There was no room for doubt. I dare you to say that again. Veins bulged on Earthly Lord Thundercloud's forehead as lightning flickered in his eyes. Without a forgiving heart, you will never be able to walk the path of true martial arts. Ling Yunfeng said in a low voice. Ha ha. Your wife was snatched away. Is this what you call a forgiving heart? Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder sneered. That's the order of my parents. I don't really have any interest in junior sister Rong. Ling Yunfeng's gaze was firm. He did not lie. What a joke. You're only saying that because you think you can't beat him. If you're willing to hang out with trash, then you're trash. Get the hell out of here. Land Monarch Cloud Thunder said coldly. Earth Lord Thundercloud bellowed as the projection of the Thunder God appeared behind him. The power of lightning within his body was unleashed to the maximum, as the massive Thunder God hammer smashed heavily toward Ling Yunfeng. Ling Yunfeng brandished the long sword in his hand and rapidly slashed out countless sword lights in front of him. After interweaving together, they formed a thick wall of light to block this attack. But how could his strength compare to Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder? Boom! Ling Yunfeng was sent flying out of the arena by a single punch. His entire body was covered in lightning, and the situation did not look good. Yunfeng, the middle-aged man beside the seat, suddenly stood up. Just as he was about to fly down, he was held back by the elder next to him. Don't be rash, Patriarch. We can't go down there. If we do, we'll be breaking the rules. The elder beside him reminded. He was naturally the father of Ling Yunfeng, Ling Fei. Watching helplessly as his son was sent flying without being able to go down to save him was truly a kind of sorrow. Just as Ling Yunfeng was about to crash heavily onto the ground, a figure flew over and caught him. It was clearly a powerful inertia, but under this catch, all of the energy was released in all directions, reducing the force Ling Yunfeng had to endure to the minimum. No matter how powerful the force was, it was still firmly fixed in place, and he did not take even half a step back. However, Ling Yunfeng's body had long since become incomparably charred, and it looked like he was seriously injured. If he did not receive treatment in time, his life would definitely be in danger. Many thanks, Brother E. Ling Yunfeng used the last of his strength to express his thanks, then fainted. The one who caught Ling Yunfeng was naturally Yi Tianyan. He had been watching from the side the whole time, and heard the conversation between Ling Yunfeng and Earthlord Cloud Thunder. He knew that Ling Yunfeng regarded him so highly, because of his previous bluff. Thinking that his words were very correct, Ling Yunfeng regarded him as a friend. It was very simple. There was no complicated reason, and there was no gift of treasures. Ling Yunfeng felt that Yi Tianyan was very worthy of being friends. Thus, even in the face of Earthlord Cloud Thunder's power, he would not change his words. Yi Tianyan did not say anything. He changed his equipment into the longevity set, and quickly began to heal Ling Yunfeng's injuries. Under his treatment, Ling Yunfeng's injuries rapidly recovered, but they were still very serious. Earthlord Cloud Thunder had used his last breath to deliver an extremely powerful blow. As for whether Ling Yunfeng could survive or not, it was up to him. He did not kill him. It was that simple. However, this was no different from killing him. It was absolutely fatal. Senior Brother Ling. Morong Xiao had already come out, her face pale. Earthlord Sun Shui had already lost. She was half kneeling on the side, her whole body entangled by tree vines. After she left, the tree vines quickly disappeared. With me here he will be fine. Yi Tianyan said simply. Morong Xiao knew about Yi Tianyan's abilities. Her beautiful eyes were filled with worry. It was not that she was in love with Ling Yinfeng, but Ling Yinfeng had taken care of her in the past. If they were not married or Dao companions, they would definitely be friends. Now that Ling Yinfeng was in trouble, he would definitely come to show his concern. Only this much, and he still wants to stand up for you. What an idiot. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder walked out of the arena and looked at Yi Tianyan coldly. I have a hunch that my next opponent will be you. Don't worry, I won't be as weak as Earth Lord Demon Eye. You saw my strength, it's less than half. Chapter 1027. Yi Tianyan's murderous intent didn't scare Earth Lord Cloud Thunder. Instead, he burst into laughter. How arrogant. Do you think the deity arena is owned by your family? Earth Lord Cloud Thunder's tone was full of sarcasm. He didn't dare say that his next opponent would be Yi Tianyan. If it was Yi Tianyan, he would be very happy. However, it was hard to say who his opponent would be. Yi Tianyan ignored him and turned to the 5 elders. Under everyone's gaze, he said in a deep voice, Seniors, I want to fight Earth Lord Cloud Thunder in the next round. I hope you approve. He didn't know if Earth Lord Cloud Thunder's opponent would be him. If Earth Lord Cloud Thunder was arranged to fight Earth Lord Sky Atlas, then he definitely wouldn't have a chance. Such a request had never been seen in the arena before. How could the arrangements of the elders be changed by a junior? Elder Go Huang and the others naturally saw the situation and knew why Yi Tianyan asked for permission. They looked at Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, then at Yi Tianyan's side, then at each other. They seemed to understand each other's thoughts. No problem. I originally planned to arrange for Earth Lord Cloud Thunder to fight Earth Lord Sky Atlas. Since you requested it, then I'll let you fight together. Elder Go Huang immediately changed the original arrangement. His words caused an uproar. They didn't expect it to really be changed. However, after thinking about it carefully, only those with strong performances could change the arrangement. Those with ordinary standards definitely couldn't change the matter. Although the deity arena isn't owned by my family, at least I can change my opponent. Yi Tianyan looked at Earth Lord Cloud Thunder and said indifferently, Ha ha ha, I really have to thank you. I originally didn't have much confidence in fighting Earth Lord Sky Atlas, but now I have a better chance against you. Earth Lord Cloud Thunder's eyes were full of mockery. You'll know how stupid your choice was later. Don't worry. Even if you're as stupid as a pig, I won't be stupid. You're wrong. You're a pig to begin with. You're welcome. Yi Tianyan mocked. Motherfucker. If I don't beat you into a pig's head, then I'm not Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder raged. You're not Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, you're a pig. Murong Xiao pointed at Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder and cursed. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder glared at her and said angrily, It seems you've become arrogant after spending so much time with him. I hope you don't meet me, otherwise you'll definitely die a horrible death. If they weren't in the arena, Murong Xiao would have been slapped to death. You no longer have that chance, Yi Tianyan said indifferently. Is that so? I should be the one saying that. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder didn't want to waste any more time talking to him. He turned around and started preparing. After he left, Yi Tianyan continued to heal Ling Yinfeng. Soon, other deacons came over to help. This wasn't his responsibility in the first place, so he left it to these deacons. Big brother Tianyan, you must defeat that Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. Murong Xiao said angrily. That's for sure. Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes and looked at Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, who was meditating in the distance. He would let this Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder know what true fear was. The second battle ended quickly. The number of contestants was reduced by half again. Another half of the contestants were eliminated. There were only about 30 people left in the arena. If they fought again, they would be able to select the top 15. This was a crucial battle. If they could fight their way into the top 15, they wouldn't be far from the top 10. Top 15 wasn't their goal. Top 10 was their real goal. After a few days of rest, the third battle began. Yi Tianyan's opponent was Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. Even Elder Go Huang had agreed to it. As for Murong Xiao's opponent, it was a contestant with a good foundation. Yi Tianyan took a quick look and knew that Murong Xiao would be in a difficult situation this time. He might even lose. But before that, He looked at Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. His eyes looked calm, so calm that it was scary. He didn't get angry, nor did he show any sadness. He just looked at him expressionlessly. Kid, your physique is very strong, right? If you have the ability, don't use weapons. Just compete with me in terms of physique. What do you think? Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder immediately set up a trap for Tianyan. He wanted Tianyan to not use a weapon, and just use his physique. No problem. Tianyan replied indifferently. Good. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was pleasantly surprised. He was worried that Tianyan wouldn't compete with him in terms of physique. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder's strongest point was his physique. Only in close combat could he bring out his greatest strength. The audience shook their heads at Tianyan's simple answer. This was a very irrational way of thinking. In a duel, the winner was king. No matter how the opponent was beaten, it was fair. Tianyan gave up his advantage. This made them feel that Tianyan was still too young. He didn't even understand the most basic rules. Then let's officially begin. I'll attack first. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder's lips curled into a cold smile. He didn't expect to meet a fool. He was sure to win this round. Just as he was about to attack Tianyan, he suddenly realized that Tianyan had disappeared. Bang! Just as he was about to look for Tianyan, a heavy punch landed on him. He felt a sharp pain in his back, and his whole body flew out uncontrollably. Just as he was about to twist his body to find Tianyan, another sharp pain came from his back. Boom! He was smashed into the ground. This punch wasn't very powerful, but it left a mark on his body. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder felt a little dizzy. Everything happened too fast. He didn't even have time to react before he was hit by 2 punches in a row. Swish! Another gust of wind blew past, heading towards him. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder roared and slammed the ground. Pa! His whole body bounced up. Violent lightning was released from his body, making his movements as fast as lightning. He was several times faster than before. Bang! Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder raised his hand to block, and was kicked back several steps. Only then did he see Tianyan's figure clearly. You're pretty fast, but this is as far as you can go. When it comes to speed, I, Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, have never been afraid of anyone. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder sneered. He had the heavenly lightning body and the power of heavenly lightning. He could turn into lightning and fly around. What kind of ability could be faster than his lightning? You talk too much. Go to the sky. Tianyan flashed behind Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder at some point and kicked him in the back. Bang! Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was sent flying into the sky like a rubber ball. His back caved in, but it wasn't fatal. Chapter 1028. Earthlord Cloudy Thunder was sent flying into the sky by Tianyan's powerful kick. He had already increased his speed, but he still couldn't catch up with Tianyan's speed, which made him furious. After Earthlord Cloudy Thunder was kicked into the air, Tianyan's figure flashed, and he once again rushed to Earthlord Cloudy Thunder's back at an astonishing speed and kicked him hard. Thump! Earthlord Cloudy Thunder was kicked down. While in midair, his body suddenly released thick lightning bolts that scattered in all directions. Thunder character formula, open for me. Earthlord Cloudy Thunder roared, and a mark began to appear on the surface of his body. Then with a whoosh sound he dodged to the side like a bolt of lightning. His speed was several times faster than before. This amazing speed made many people exclaim. With this amazing speed, he easily dodged Tianyan's attack. Although it was a bit embarrassing, the situation now was not as passive as before. Yunlei's Thunder character formula has become more proficient. The Sky Thunder Region Lord was very satisfied with Earthlord Cloudy Thunder's performance. Of course, in the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. Young Lord Cloudy Thunder, with the most domineering speed, it should be no problem for you to win this round. The elders next to him began to flatter Earthlord Cloudy Thunder like crazy. With amazing speed, he could naturally win the battle. That boy is a bit strange. His speed is unexpectedly fast. It's a bit unexpected. With Cloudy Thunder's situation, he should be able to win this round. The Sky Thunder Region Lord's eyes were cold, and then he turned to look at the Heavenly Mandate Region Lord, his eyes full of displeasure. He didn't expect that a deity region at the bottom would find such a genius, which made him feel very unhappy. As long as young Lord Yunlei uses the Heavenly Thunder Divine Region's thunder art, you'll definitely be able to win this round. No one in the same realm can surpass young Lord Yunlei's speed. The elder at the side continued to flatter him. That's right. If Earth Lord Cloudy Thunder still has this speed, then we will definitely win this round. The Sky Thunder Region Lord's eyes were full of fanaticism. His goal was very simple, to let Earth Lord Cloudy Thunder defeat Tianyun, so that he could join any deity region at will. Speed had always been the most respected. As long as one's speed was amazing enough, they would be invincible. Bang bang bang. Tianyun kept rushing towards Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, using only his fists. He didn't use any other weapons. Other than that, he didn't use any weapons. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was able to easily block his concentrated attacks without any pressure at all. So this is the limit of your speed? You're really too slow. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder mocked. It looked like he still had some extra speed that he hadn't used yet. Tianyun's eyes flashed. He had given it his all, even using his Phoenix bloodline. Coupled with the acceleration from the ancient Desolate set, he had reached his limit. Who would have thought that Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder would still be able to block it? This was enough to show how terrifying Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder's speed was. In the past, with his current speed, he would definitely be able to kill them in an instant. But against Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, his speed could only be considered average. However, he wasn't too surprised by such an outcome. After all, speed was the other party's forte. As long as he exerted a little of it, he would be able to suppress the speed of most people. Is that so? How about this? Tianyun's eyes turned cold as he gave the order in his heart. Upgrade Phoenix Bloodline. Successfully deducted 5 million crazy points. Upgrade Phoenix Bloodline to 3rd grade. 3rd grade Phoenix Bloodline. Speed increased by 20 times. Fire power increased by 10 times. Buzz. The surging Phoenix power was released from his body, and a Phoenix shadow emerged from behind him, making his speed suddenly soar. Xiao. Tianyun disappeared in front of Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, and in the next moment he appeared next to him and slapped him. Pa! Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder's head was slapped to the ground, and with a thump, his head hit the ground so hard that he almost fainted. What? Heavenly Thunder Domain Lord stood up in shock. He saw Tianyun's speed suddenly burst, and he was even faster than Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder used his true strength, but he was still defeated in a second. This speed can still be increased? Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder climbed up from the ground. His whole body was stunned, and there was a heavy slap mark on his face. He couldn't even react. He thought that Tianyun's speed was the limit. Who knew that Tianyun would surpass him in an instant, and crush him with a stronger speed? Tianyun didn't answer him, but answered him with action. In a flash, Tianyun appeared in front of Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder again, and slapped him. Pa! Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was slapped again. After so many times, the most he got was a flesh wound, not deep inside. To put it bluntly, it was a kind of humiliation. If he wanted to kill Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, he would have done it a long time ago. Anger Secret Art open. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder twisted in midair, and slapped his chest, and the word anger appeared on his body, and his speed soared again. This time his speed increased more than 10 times. His whole body was covered with fine lightning, and even his blood vessels were covered with lightning. His eyes were filled with lightning, shooting out in all directions. It was as if he could turn into a bolt of divine lightning with a single glance. He can still increase his speed? Tianyun looked at his situation. His combat power was soaring, but this was definitely similar to burning his essence blood, so he couldn't maintain it for too long. If there were no side effects, Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder would have used it a long time ago. I'll kill you. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was humiliated so many times, and this time he was completely furious. He thought that he could play around with Tianyun, but he didn't expect that Tianyun would be the one playing around with him. Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder didn't know what to do. Kaboom! Thick thunderclouds condensed in the sky, and lightning bolts kept striking down, buffing his body. This was the Fury Secret Art. It was an extremely powerful divine art that he could currently control. Swoosh! His body twisted and turned into countless bolts of lightning that swept toward Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. It was impossible to tell which one was his real body. This speed was too fast, so fast that even the Lord of Heaven couldn't see it clearly. This was the talent of an invincible genius. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, Earth Monarch Thundercloud threw a punch. It looked like one punch, but in reality, he had already thrown over 10,000 punches. Tianyun quickly blocked the attack, but the dense lightning continued to pass through his palm and penetrate his body, scorching the surface of his body. Chapter 1029. As expected of God's domain. There are so many geniuses here. Their various talents are astonishing, and the effect of their combination far surpasses ours. Tianyun couldn't keep up with Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's attacks, and his body started to get burnt. He has already used his Phoenix bloodline, but he still couldn't keep up with Cloud Thunder Earth Lord. Originally, Phoenix bloodline was not a very powerful bloodline in Divine Domain, but because of its comprehensive strength, Tianyun decided to use it. Especially after leveling up, the effect was even better. Based on the bloodlines of the three realms, even those of the Imperial clan would be completely crushed here. Go to hell. Cloud Thunder Earth Lord has entered into a frenzied state, and he is constantly smashing his fists with a ferocious expression. Looking at this situation, Nian Xiyu's heart suddenly jumped. It seems that Tianyun is completely suppressed, and if this continues he will definitely lose. Don't compete with him in terms of speed, just attack him directly. Nian Xiyu can't wait to rush down and help Tianyun. Sometimes, even if the speed is not as good as the opponent, as long as the opponent's strength is absolutely amazing, they can still defeat the opponent. Moreover, the range is locked here, so it's impossible to crush the opponent with a full-scale attack. However, Tianyun didn't show any signs of pulling out his weapon. He was still blocking the attacks. If this continues, he will definitely lose. Tianyun's body was burnt black, which is enough to prove that his situation is not ideal. Heavenly Thunder Realm Lord is very satisfied with Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's performance. Although I need to rest for a while, but all of this is worth it. As long as I can defeat that brat, everything will be settled. Yes, young Master Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's Raging Thunder Earth Lord is invincible in the same realm. Even Lord Tianqing and Earth Monarch may not have absolute confidence in taking it on. The elder beside him praised again. When they thought that Tianyun is going to lose, Tianyun smirked. Since you want to compete in speed, I will play with you. Anyway, I am going to level up my Phoenix bloodline, and speed is indeed a weakness. Phoenix bloodline level up. Ding. Successfully deducted 50 million crazy points. Phoenix bloodline level up to 4th grade. 4th grade Phoenix bloodline. The speed effect is increased by 40 times, and the effect of the flames is increased by 20 times. The next level requires 100 million crazy points. Creak, creak, creak. The cry of a phoenix soared into the sky from behind him. With a flash, Tianyun disappeared from Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's sight. His speed was so shocking that even Cloud Thunder Earth Lord couldn't catch a glimpse of him. Pa 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 pa. Countless slaps flew in his direction, causing Thundercloud Earth Lord's body to twist and turn. The frightening speed left him dumbfounded once again. He didn't know what was going on. He couldn't see anything and just kept being whipped. Scram scram. Cloud Thunder Earth Lord roared and wanted to counterattack. Violent thunderbolts spread out in all directions, but it was useless. Tianyun's strong defense blocked the thunderbolts. What he got in return was a slap that was covered in flames. Under the effect of the 20 times flame amplification, the power of the demonic flame was greatly increased. Even though the slap did not contain much power, it still managed to leave a flame mark on Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's body. Ah! Cloud Thunder Earth Lord felt a burst of pain, but when he tried to counterattack he missed. He had already used all his strength, but he still couldn't catch up with Tianyun's speed. Even if he burned his blood essence, it was useless. He could only see an afterimage in front of him. He couldn't see where he was going. This scene stunned many people. They also couldn't see Tianyun's figure, But they knew that Tianyun's speed was much faster than Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's. Most of the Lord of Heaven couldn't see Tianyun's speed at all. Terrifying speed. This is what it means to be undefeatable. The key is that Tianyun continued to play around. As if he didn't care about the energy, he kept whipping Cloud Thunder Earth Lord, making him like a rubber ball, constantly twisting in the air. Just as he was whipped down, Tianyun appeared below him, and then ruthlessly whipped Cloud Thunder Earth Lord, sending him flying again. He hung Cloud Thunder Earth Lord up and beat him until he couldn't even fight back. His speed can be even faster. How did he do it? The Heavenly Thunder Territory Lord was shocked. He originally thought that Cloud Thunder Earth Lord was in the bag, but now he was completely defeated. Tianyun's speed was comparable to that of an invincible speed, defeating the speed that Cloud Thunder Earth Lord was most proud of. The most direct way to defeat a person was to use greater strength to defeat the opponent's specialty. If the opponent was most proud of the specialty, then use greater strength to defeat the opponent's pride. This would definitely make the opponent feel depressed for a long time, and it might even create a lingering heart demon. While being beaten, Cloud Thunder Earth Lord wanted to retreat. He quickly took out his weapon and swung it around, but it was useless. He couldn't hit Tianyun at all. Didn't we agree that weapons aren't allowed? Looks like you broke the rules. Of course, I didn't expect you to follow the rules. Tianyun gave him another slap, sending his weapon flying. He couldn't even use his weapon and was sent flying. Next, Earthly Lord Cloud Thunder attempted to flee. However, after flying for a short distance, he was pulled back. You want to leave? What's the rush? Let's play more. Tianyun's strength grew stronger and stronger, and the flame imprints continuously entered Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's body. The surface of his body was already charred black. It was a lot darker than the ones he had been injured by the lightning before. I surrender. I admit defeat. Cloud Thunder Earth Lord began to beg for mercy. He didn't want to die here. If he died, everything would be gone. He was a super genius of the Heavenly Thunder Territory. Even if he lost, he could still become a territory lord in the future. If he died, he wouldn't even be a guard, let alone a territory lord. He didn't want his life to end like this, so he could only put down his pride and beg for mercy. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Tianyun smiled slightly. He quickly slapped a few times on Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's body. Every slap contained a terrifying power that continuously surged into Cloud Thunder Earth Lord's body. Just as Thundercloud Earth Lord was on the verge of death, Wuxia viciously slapped him with his palm. Bang! Thundercloud Earth Lord was sent flying through the barrier and fell outside. After falling to the ground, the deacon at the side quickly came over to treat him. He discovered that Cloud Thunder Earth Lord still had a breath left. It was similar to Ling Yinfeng's situation. If he didn't receive help in time, he would definitely die. I'll kill you when you get out of here. Cloud Thunder Earth Lord didn't forget to threaten Ling Yun when he was about to faint. Boom! Suddenly, Cloud Thunder Earth Lord exploded, turning into a cloud of blood mist that drifted with the wind. He couldn't be more dead. Chapter 1030. As Earth Lord Cloud Thunder exploded, a long tongue of flame shot into the sky. The flames buried in his body were completely released, turning into a flaming tornado that swept into the sky. Fortunately, the deacon reacted in time and was almost burned. Of course, no matter how they burned, they would not be burned to death. After all, they were at the level of the Lord of Heaven, and the power of the flames was not very strong. However, Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder's death had enraged the Heavenly Thunder Region Lord. What the hell are you doing? Cloud Thunder already surrendered, so why did you kill him? Heaven Lightning Region Lord was furious. Earthly Monarch Cloud Thunder was his son, so how could he not be furious? I didn't kill him, but he was too angry, causing the flames in his body to go out of control. If you don't get so angry, you'll be fine. You'll expel it bit by bit. Tianyun shrugged. Every one of his palms contained flames, and as the attacks continued, more and more flames gathered inside Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder. He was like a ticking time bomb. As for how it would explode, that would depend on Earth Lord Cloud Thunder. If Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was enraged, he would become the fuse and detonate the bomb. It was clear that Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder had been begging for mercy, and his killing intent had been roused before he fainted. This was undoubtedly walking towards death. If he wasn't angry, then there wouldn't be any problems. But once he was enraged, he would die without a doubt. In the end, Tianyan did it on purpose. Just like Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder, he spared Cloud Soaring Peak's life and left a flame in his body. If Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder was ruthless, then he would be even more ruthless. Of course, there was still a sliver of hope, and that was if Earth Lord Cloud Thunder didn't get angry. Clearly he was angry, and had even threatened to kill Tianyan once he got out. It would be hard not to die. Tianyan was very happy to see this happen. Bullshit, if you hadn't injected the flames into his body, how could this have happened? The Sky Thunder Region Lord flew down from his seat, and directly entered the arena. How could he not explode when his own son was killed? Logically speaking, he shouldn't be able to enter the deity battle arena. Undoubtedly, he had already violated the rules. The elders at the side couldn't even stop him before he flew down. Domain Lord, calm down, calm down. The elders of the Heavenly Thunder Domain hurriedly flew down, and advised the Heavenly Thunder Domain Lord not to be too impulsive. How do you expect me to calm down now? The Heavenly Thunder Ruler's eyes were red, and the power of the Heavenly Thunder in his body was about to be released. This is against the rules. If this continues, we will be punished. The elder wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He had also experienced how much of an impact the death of Earth Monarch Cloud Thunder would have on the Heavenly Thunder Domain, especially when he was the son of the Heavenly Thunder Region Lord, their young lord. Heavenly Thunder Region Lord, are you trying to break the rules? Elder Go Huang's dissatisfied voice pressed down from the sky, bringing with it a wave of cold air that blew over, causing the Heavenly Thunder Region Lord's heart to turn cold, and he immediately sobered up. Elder Go Huang, I just want to say that he violated the rules. Yin Lei was clearly eliminated, so how could he still kill him? The Sky Thunder Region Lord had calmed down, but he was still extremely angry. I already said he didn't kill him. It's just that there's a bit of fire in his body, and if he gets a little angry, he'll release it. Don't tell me he's not as powerful as I am. Attacking without leaving a trace in front of so many people? Tianyan looked at him and sneered. Earth Monarch Tianyan is right, we were all watching from the side, and he didn't make a move, so it's not against the rules. I'll give you one last chance. Please leave the stage immediately, or else you will be punished with expulsion. Elder Go Huang was extremely strict. Rules were rules, especially when Tianyan didn't violate the rules. Could it be that the 5 elders were all blind and couldn't see anything? Yes. The Heavenly Thunder Region Lord shot a resentful look at Tianyan before flying back to his original position. Tianyan wasn't afraid of provoking these domain lords. In any case, he was barefooted here. Barefooted people weren't afraid of wearing shoes, so what was there for him to worry about? Moreover, now that he had entered a Grade 2 God realm, why would he be afraid of the Heavenly Thunder Region Lord? If they really sent people to assassinate him, then he would be very happy to accept them all. These were all experience points. At the same time, he would ruthlessly patronize the Heavenly Thunder Divine Region, and let them know who they had provoked. After this episode, everyone looked at each other. They had to say that Tianyan was really ruthless. They didn't expect that Tianyan would dare to do this. He really didn't show any mercy when he said he would kill. Tianyan didn't pay attention to everyone's gazes. When he turned his head to look at Morong Xiao, he found that Morong Xiao had been beaten back again and again. It seemed that he was going to lose. It seems that I can only stop at the top 15. Tianyan shook his head. This was already quite amazing for Morong Xiao. Even with the divine wood body and the cultivation of the 7th refinement Earth Monarch, he could only be considered to be above average here, not extremely strong. It was already very good to be able to fight into the top 30. As for Earth Monarch Tegu and Earth Monarch Tianqing, Earth Monarch Taiji's battle had already ended. As for Earth Monarch Tegu, he was still fighting. It seemed that he was locked in a stalemate with his opponent, and it seemed like he would lose at any time. This trick again. Is he deliberately hiding his strength, so that he can counterattack when the time comes? Tianyan knew that Earth Monarch Taegu was hiding his strength. The appraisal I had roughly revealed Earth Monarch Taeji's situation. It seemed that they were locked in a stalemate, but in fact his battle strength was 2 levels higher than his opponent. It was just that he controlled his strength very well. And the aura he released was relatively stable, as if it was real. If he didn't have the appraisal eye, he would have really been fooled. Although he knew that the other party was hiding his strength, he didn't know why. No matter why, he definitely didn't come with good intentions and had some purpose. This was the same as Earth Monarch Tianqing, who had some special purpose. It made him feel that this ascending battle of the divine realm was not normal. Could it be that there is some kind of disturbance? Tianyun's eyes narrowed. He felt that it was not as simple as it seemed. He even had a bad feeling about it. He didn't think too much about it. Maybe it was just his imagination, and it was not that bad. Moreover, there were 5 powerful elders here, so what else could happen? He immediately sat down to meditate to recover his energy. Soon, Morong Xiao was defeated, and he stopped in the top 15. Of course, his situation was better, and he didn't suffer any serious injuries. Sigh, I lost. I thought I could fight my way into the top 15. Next time, I will definitely fight my way into the top 10. Morong Xiao came over angrily and sat down next to Tianyan. I don't think there will be a next time. It is very likely that you will be chosen. Elder Lu Yu is quite interested in you. Tianyan looked at Elder Lu Yu, who also had a wood attribute body. Chapter 1031. Hearing Tianyan's words, Morong Xiao subconsciously looked to the side, and found that Elder Lu Yu was also looking at her with interest. It was obvious that she had a high chance of being chosen. Even if she was eliminated, she still had a chance. After all, being in the top 30 was not a bad result, especially since she still had a lot of potential. She would definitely be stronger if she was strengthened a little. If I'm not chosen, you have to make it up to me. Morong Xiao looked at Tianyan and wrinkled her nose. How do you want me to make it up to you? Tianyan smiled. Morong Xiao rolled her eyes and smiled. I haven't thought about it yet. Let's talk about it when I'm not chosen. Tianyan shook his head with a smile and didn't say much. Soon, Earth Lord Taegu won the round. It looked like he had won by a narrow margin. His acting was more convincing than real. The surrounding people began to talk about Earth Lord Taegu. They said that he had almost lost, but in the end, he won the round and made it to the top 15. This round has come to an end. After resting for 3 days, we will proceed to the next round. Elder Go Huang nodded after seeing that everyone had finished their battles. 3 days later, everyone's mental state had recovered. Next, it's the battle to decide the top 10. When Elder Go Huang announced, the remaining 16 people's eyes were filled with enthusiasm. If they could make it to the top 10, it meant that they could enter the 5 major divine realms. Therefore, this was the most crucial battle. If they won, they would make it to the top 8. This meant that there were still 2 spots left. The remaining 8 people would continue to fight to decide the last 2 places. This meant that even if they lost, they still had a chance. Then, let's choose our opponents. Elder Go Huang stretched out his hand and tossed. Just like before, 16 tokens fell from the sky and landed in their palms. 7th. Tianyan looked at the token in his hand and looked up. It wasn't Earth Lord Tianqing or Earth Lord Taegu, but someone else. His opponent was also looking at him, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Following the 2 of them into the arena, the opponent smiled and said, Earthly Monarch Tianyan, it's my honor to meet you in this round. What's the honor? Is it because you can imitate my moves? Tianyan's expression was indifferent. This was the first time he was fighting with this Earth Monarch, and there was no friction between them. However, he had observed this Earth Monarch magic eye in front of him. His name was only 1 word different from Earth Monarch Demon Eye. However, the difference between their abilities was like heaven and earth. The Magic Eye Earth Monarch's main ability was imitation. As long as he saw something, there was nothing that he couldn't imitate. It might not be able to imitate all of the abilities, but if it could imitate at least 80 to 90% of them, it would definitely be at a heaven-defying level. Correct your mistake. What I'm doing is not imitation, but absorbing the essence. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye smiled. He looked like a nice guy, but he would use the most disgusting method to defeat his opponent. That was to use what he had learned on the spot, imitating the moves that his opponent was proud of, and then defeating his opponent. As for whether or not he had any original moves, he definitely did. It was just that there were only a handful of people who could force him to use his original moves. Just by imitating the opponent's moves was enough to defeat his opponent. Then, why not hide his own moves? That way he would have another trump card. Absorbing essence? Tianyan shook his head. Imitating someone else's moves and saying it in such a grand manner was really shameless. Of course, this wasn't a particularly shameless ability. After all, this was his ability. To be able to understand his opponent's moves with just a few glances. This was definitely a super innate ability. Although it wasn't shameless, it was just a little disgusting. For example, the martial arts that he had painstakingly cultivated, or the martial arts that he had spent a lot of money to purchase for cultivation, were easily imitated by his opponent. One could imagine how he felt. In particular, some of his top-notch martial arts that weren't passed on to others would be learned. This was why the Earth Monarch Magic Eye was so terrifying. He was a super genius. Sure enough, there were countless geniuses in the deity territory, and the Earth Monarch Magic Eye was one of them. From the start until now, he hadn't displayed his strongest strength, and he had easily entered the top 16. If that's the case, why don't you give it a try? Tianyan smiled. Let's see if you can imitate all of my moves. Earth Monarch Tianyan, from your previous battles, I can see that you only rely on two things: strength and speed. You really don't have any special moves. However, there is one move that I quite like, and that's this move. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye smiled. Suddenly, his body emitted a black light, and in the next moment, he turned into a demon god. He immediately grew 2 to 3 times bigger, and his body was surrounded by black flames. It looked like his transformation was actually 8 to 9 levels of demon god. Interesting. Tianyan's eyes lit up, and he sized up the Earth Monarch Magic Eye. He could actually imitate his transformation. He didn't even fight with him, and he had already learned it. Of course, his transformation was completely based on the effects of his equipment. This effect was actually a type of martial arts, and it wasn't a problem for him to learn it. It was just that the effects looked like heaven and earth. After all, the transformation was only one of the effects of the demon god set. The truly overbearing effect was still the effects of the set. The transformation was just a supplementary effect, and when he didn't transform, he still had the overbearing effects of the equipment. This was something that the Earth Monarch Magic Eye couldn't imitate no matter what. I quite like this transformation move. It can increase the effects of my attacks by quite a lot. This type of martial arts is quite rare, and thank you for appearing. I have another good martial arts. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye smiled. This looked as overbearing and full of strength as Tianyan previously. When Nian Xiu and the rest saw this, their faces turned solemn. This Earth Monarch Magic Eye is too disgusting. He always stealthily learns other people's moves. Nian Xiu was a little angry. She had painstakingly cultivated, but the other party had learned it in the blink of an eye. Although he didn't learn all the essence, it was enough to make people feel disgusted. This is his talent, a kind of talent that he was born with. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye has had this pair of magic eyes since he was young, and he can learn any martial arts with just one look, and he doesn't need to cultivate much. He is really a super genius. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord shook his head. The world was big, and there were all kinds of strange things. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye was just one of the geniuses, and there were even more extraordinary geniuses, such as Earth Monarch Sky Crystal. I don't believe that this imitator can imitate all of Tianyan's abilities. Can he imitate speed and strength? Nian Xiu said angrily. He can. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord sighed and said, the scariest thing about him is actually this: whether it is martial arts, or even his opponent's abilities, he can imitate them. Chapter 1032. The Magic Eye Earth Emperor is so terrifying, but why is his ranking not very high? Nian Xiu was full of doubts. The Magic Eye Earth Emperor had only been in the top 10 before. This ranking was not bad, but it was not very eye-catching. Could he be stronger than Lei Yun and the others? The ranking does not determine everything. The Magic Eye Earth Emperor is still rather low-key. Moreover, his score in the first round was not that bad. There is no need for him to fight for anything. For him, the real thrill is fighting. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord said in a low voice. I heard that his mind is somewhat twisted. He has always liked to defeat his opponents in ways that they are extremely proud of in order to gain pleasure. Therefore, he was just playing around in the previous rounds. How could he be interested in them? The thoughts of a genius are not easy to understand. He likes this and has no interest in anything else. Nian Xiyu was silent. Looking at the confrontation between the two of them, she could only nod silently to show her agreement. After the Magic Eye Earth Emperor transformed into an evil demon, he walked towards Yi Tianyan step by step. At the same time, he smiled and said, What other moves do you have? Just show me. I have never seen any moves in my life. There is no way for me to learn them. They are too simple. There is no difficulty at all. His eyes were full of contempt. It was contempt for the world. It was as if he was the strongest genius. No moves or martial arts were a problem for him. He had everything at his fingertips. He could learn whatever he wanted to learn immediately. His journey had been too smooth. Then let's try this move. Yi Tianyan didn't waste any more time. He stomped on the ground and rushed towards the Magic Eye Earth Monarch with his fist. Boom. Yi Tianyan punched the Magic Eye Earth Monarch violently. The Earth Emperor Magic Eye also rushed over and swung his fists in the same direction. Boom. The two fists collided, and the two were bounced back at the same time. However, the Magic Eye Earth Emperor was slightly weaker. His strength was not as strong as Yi Tianyan's. Your strength is not bad. Yi Tianyan squinted his eyes. He had thought that the Magic Eye Earth Lord was merely imitating his strength. He had not expected it to be so strong. It should be said that it had even imitated his own strength. You're really strong. I almost couldn't move my body. However, isn't your speed the thing you're most proud of? The Magic Eye Earth Emperor waved his hand and revealed a cunning smile. In the next moment, the shadow of a phoenix emerged from his back. With a whoosh sound, he disappeared from where he stood and dashed towards Yi Tianyan at an extremely fast speed. His speed was almost the same as Yi Tianyan's, and it was even gradually surpassing him. The main reason was that other than the power of the Phoenix, the Earth Monarch Magic Eye also carried the martial arts of other powerhouses. When all of them were stacked together, the fusion effect was even stronger. This strength and speed are indeed astonishing. Coupled with the rock martial arts that I've learned before, the speed of the two can even be combined. Earth Monarch Magic Eye was indeed a genius. He could even fuse the martial arts of other cultivators into it. Although it was a fusion, there was no doubt that he was still using the other person's martial arts to fight. In an instant, the Magic Eye Earth Emperor rushed to the side of Yi Tianyan. He waved an attack that was imbued with black flames, trying to burn him to death with the black flames. Letting Yi Tianyan die by his own move was really a mockery. Yi Tianyan's eyes flashed. He turned his leg around and kicked with all his might. The ancient Set and Dragon God bloodline were all unleashed, and they were stacked with the Heaven Trembling technique. With a boom, the Earth Monarch Magic Eye was sent flying. After tumbling a few times in the air, a wave of energy was released from his body. It transformed into a giant rock in the air and stopped flying. However, a large part of his body caved in from the impact. As his eyes flashed, the shadow of a giant tree appeared behind him. Surging vitality began to continuously heal his injuries. He wasn't using his moves randomly. He was using them in a way that he needed to, and he had gathered them into one body. Moreover, he was using them very smoothly. This was the level of a genius. The Earth Monarch Magic Eye was indeed a genius. He had mastered all the moves. This was a true genius. If he simply imitated without mastering it, he would only be considered an average genius. Only those who knew how to use their moves were considered a true genius. Learn my moves. Yi Tianyan laughed. Then let's see how many moves you can learn. Chapter 1033. Get down from me. Tianyan ruthlessly smashed down with his spear. Both of their Heaven's Fury art collided. Boom. Magic Eye Earth Lord was smashed into the ground. The spear in his hand was sent flying, and he could not even hold it properly. Magic Eye Earth Lord was dizzy from the impact. He felt as though his hand had almost been broken. His hand that was holding the spear was trembling. That overbearing strength was something that his body could not bear. Your physique is too weak. Even if you can learn other people's moves, imitating them is too strenuous. You are very strong, but your shortcomings are also very obvious. You focus too much on imitating others' moves, but you do not have a good foundation. What's the use of just learning techniques? Tianyan walked towards Magic Eye Earth Lord step by step. His words pointed out Magic Eye Earth Lord's biggest weakness. Actually, this was not a big weakness. If his body could keep up, he would be able to crush his opponent. But compared to Tianyan, the difference was too big. Tianyan increased his strength slightly, and Magic Eye Earth Lord could not keep up. But the main thing was that Tianyan did not have any shortcomings. He had speed and strength. If his speed was not fast, Magic Eye Earth Lord could use some moves that increased his speed to surround him. He would indeed be undefeatable. Unfortunately, he met Tianyan. I can learn all your moves. As long as I can master all your moves, I can break through everything. Magic Eye Earth Lord roared. His eyes flickered with anger, but most of it was humiliation. He had always been the one toying with others. Now it was Tianyan's turn to crush him. He felt extremely humiliated. In the next moment, Magic Eye Earth Lord waved all his attacks. Several phantoms appeared in the void. Not only were there Kuan-Peng phantoms, there were also giant tree phantoms and incomparably powerful giant rock phantoms. He had mastered many powers that were even stronger than Tianyan. For example, the Kuan-Peng shadow was faster than the Phoenix's shadow by a level, and it was even faster than Tianyan. The giant tree shadow could use softness to overcome hardness. It could entangle Tianyan's attacks, rendering them ineffective. The giant rock phantom could increase his defensive power to an astonishing degree, allowing him to resist even stronger attacks, and even increase his own strength. This was a targeted enhancement. When he was unable to suppress his opponent, he would use an even more powerful attack to defeat his opponent. This was a very simple and crude method. If you used an astonishing speed, I will use an even faster speed to counterattack. It was that simple. It's just a futile struggle. Tianyan shook his head and gripped the heavenly divine spear in his hand tightly. His eyes flickered with a sharp light. In the next instant, he transformed into an evil fiend celestial. A black light shot out. Regardless of speed or strength, he far surpassed the demonic Eye Earth Monarch. This was his super strong foundation. With a strong foundation, the power that he could unleash would be the strongest. Otherwise, if he couldn't unleash his powerful martial arts, he would just be a pile of trash. Boom. The demonic Eye Earth Monarch was hit by his attack and fell from the sky like a meteorite. After he hit the ground, he bounced a few times, causing him to spit out blood. The real difference in strength was immediately revealed. You used the right technique, but your foundation is too weak. Go back and train for a few more years before coming back. Tianyan admired geniuses like him. After all, he had amazing talent and a higher starting point than others. However, it was easy for him to become arrogant if he was too talented. The demonic Eye Earth Monarch's life was too smooth, so he didn't care about anything and didn't focus too much on one martial art. If it was too messy, and he wasn't proficient enough, it wouldn't be meaningful. Tianyan had many martial arts, but he didn't use some of them. The main reason was that he wanted quality martial arts, and he wanted to cultivate the quality martial arts to the extreme. That was enough for him. As for bloodlines, the more the better, so he didn't care about them. Ha ha! The demonic Eye Earth Monarch couldn't stop laughing. He got up from the ground and said with a twisted face, "You mortals, how dare you teach us a lesson? It seems like if I don't show you what I'm capable of, you all think that you can step on me." The demonic Eye Earth Monarch's eyes started to emit a red glow that contained a shocking power of heaven and earth. The terrifying power was stacked layer by layer into his body. The moves were still the same as before, but this time, He had fused many upper-grade reincarnation-level martial arts into it. Layers of shadows appeared behind him. He didn't know which martial art was the demonic Earth Monarch family's martial art. Actually, this wasn't important. To him, as long as it was a good martial art, he should use it and stack it on his body to achieve his goal of strengthening himself. This goal was quite effective. With the support of the demonic Earth Monarch, his combat power skyrocketed and became stronger. However, in Etienne's opinion, it was too messy. However, this power was indeed shocking. If he had such an ability, he could indeed use it this way. With continuous support, he could indeed obtain stronger power. This was the simplest and most violent method. However, he was secretly learning other people's martial arts. This meant that the martial arts contained within would be flawed. This talent didn't mean that he could completely master it. It was easy for him to go berserk. Mortals die. The demonic Earth Monarch roared and pounced towards Etienne. Countless shadows appeared behind him and enveloped the arena. The sky was filled with shadows, and it looked terrifying. Etienne looked up and saw the demonic Earth Monarch pouncing towards him. He didn't even move. So many shadows. How many martial arts did this guy learn? It's so scary. I saw a lot of amazing clan protection martial arts being learned by him. It seems like anyone who is his opponent will be secretly learning it. Yeah, this is too despicable. If only I had this ability, how good would it be? The crowd was extremely envious. Previously, they had felt disgusted and disgusted. However, deep in their hearts, they wanted to have such martial arts. After all, this talent was too amazing. What martial arts couldn't be taken away by them? Extreme radiance. Etienne's eyes turned cold. Holding the celestial spear, he gently lifted it and aimed at one of the spots. It turned into a cold light and pierced through. A cold light flashed and turned into an extreme point that pierced through. There weren't any fancy moves. The demonic Earth Monarch only saw a cold light piercing through. Although he could see it the moment he saw it, it was already too late. He felt a sharp pain in his chest. Following that, his entire body flew out and fell rapidly from the sky. Chapter 1034. I've lost. Earth Lord Magic Eye's pupils constricted and gradually turned white. His eyes started to lose focus. He felt a terrifying force fiercely pouring into his body. Then, it quickly spread throughout his body. Before he could react, he felt that he had lost connection with his body. You have many techniques, but they are not refined enough, and there are many loopholes. All I need to do is to target one of your loopholes and all the techniques will be meaningless. Etienne walked down from the stage with a calm expression. His explosive power was not very terrifying, but the key was that he saw the loophole in Earth Lord Magic Eye's attacks. After finding the loophole, he aimed at the loophole and attacked it fiercely. The dazzling techniques were actually just paper tigers. Breaking it with a single poke, defeating him effortlessly without any pressure at all. It turns out that the thing that I've always been proud of has become my weakness. The eyes of the Magic Eye Earth Lord started to tear up. This was the first time in his life that he tasted defeat. Then he slowly crawled up and started to recover his body. That's not a shortcoming. You're just too proud. You think you can take on any kind of technique, and you think you've mastered it. In reality, you've only mastered it to the 8th level. The remaining 2 levels are your fatal weaknesses. Once you find the flaw in the attack, you will definitely suffer a crushing defeat. Etienne took some time to find the loophole. It was not easy to find. If it was so easy to find Earth Lord Magic, I would have been defeated long ago. After a long period of battle, Etienne had gradually familiarized himself with battle techniques, and was even more proficient in finding the loophole. Only by finding the loophole could he find the fatal weakness. I see. Earth Lord Magic Eye shook his head and his eyes were filled with disappointment. No wonder, even if someone told me that, I would not believe it. Earth Lord Tianyan, thank you. I have lost. He did not despair nor was he angry. Instead, he calmed down and realized his mistake. This was something that Etienne admired. This was the magnanimity that a true genius should have. No one's life was truly smooth sailing. The most frightening thing was to not be willing to get up after falling down. Even more so, they were unwilling to recognize their own problems and would blame others for their mistakes. Such people would never improve. At least Earth Lord Magic I had woken up. There is nothing to thank me for. It was just a normal battle. Tianyan smiled. Earth Lord Magic I stood up shakily and cupped his fists. I have to thank you, Earth Lord Tianyan. I hope that Earth Lord Tianyan can achieve a better result in the following battles. If you have time, I welcome you to my God domain as a guest, and I will definitely treat you as an honored guest. If I have time, I will. Tianyan said with a smile. When the time comes, I hope I can continue to spar with Earth Lord Tianyan. You're the first human I've ever seen to be so powerful. I take back my previous arrogance and ignorance. I hope that Earthly Monarch Tianyan can forgive my rude words. Earthly Monarch Magic, I actually apologized. This was very rare. There is no doubt that Tianyan has helped him a lot, and that's why he let go of everything. You did not say anything wrong. What you did was not wrong in the first place. Your talent is here, and it is not a bad thing to make use of it. If Earth Lord Magic Eye's words had really angered him, he would not be standing here alive. Earth Lord Magic Eye was arrogant and thought that martial arts could be learned easily. That was why he did not take others seriously. As for other things, he did not say anything. Moreover, he would not fight an opponent who was sincerely apologizing. This was especially true when Earth Monarch Magic Eye's favorability of him had soared to 150. This meant that the Earth Monarch Magic Eye's apology was sincere. Thank you for your understanding, Earth Lord Tianyan. Earth Lord Magic Eye was grateful, and his eyes were filled with fighting intent. I hope I can defeat you next time. Before that, I hope you will not lose to anyone. Don't worry. It is not that easy to defeat me. Tianyan smiled. If someone wanted to defeat him, they would have to be many levels higher than him. Earth Lord Magic Eye immediately went to treat his wounds. He still had another battle. When he looked at the people from the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Region, they all cheered excitedly. He had already made it to the top 8, which meant that if he continued, he would be able to make it to the top 4. Although it was already a foregone conclusion that he would be selected, for them, this was the time to prove Tianyan's strength, who said that having achievements in the previous stages did not mean that one would not have an advantage in battles. Now that he had easily made it to the top 10, it was enough to look down on everyone. Even if Tianyan did not make it to the top 3 or first place, he had already proved that he was not weak. All those who had looked down on Tianyan for being a human shut their mouths now. It was not embarrassing if he lost to other contestants later on. Making it to the top 10 among hundreds of thousands of geniuses was not a feat. To put it bluntly, if anyone doubted his strength, they could come down and make it to the top 10 too. Top 10, no one has ever made it to the top 10, right? The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord was so excited that his hands were trembling. Yes, no one has ever made it to the top 10. Nian Xiu was also very excited. Every time they thought that Tianyan would lose, he would give them the biggest surprise in the end. This kind of feeling made them jump up and down. It was so exciting that they almost had a heart attack. Have they all finished their battles? Tianyan looked at Tianqing and Earthly Lord. Without exception, they had all made it to the next round easily. When he looked at Tianqing, Earthly Lord also looked at him with a slight smile, as if he did not care about all this. If Magic Eye Earth Lord was arrogant, then Tianqing was beyond the secular world, as if he did not care about these things at all. Congratulations on making it to the next round. I wonder if your next opponent will be you? Tianqing smiled and said, I don't think so. They will not arrange it like this, Tianyan said calmly. I think so, but I think you will meet him first, Tianqing said with a smile. Don't lose. I was not looking forward to it at first, but now I am looking forward to it. Is that so? That's my honor, Tianyan said. Yes, it is indeed your honor, Tianqing replied. Tianyan's face twitched. This woman was really arrogant. Just a little flattery, and she immediately took advantage of the situation. However, Earth Lord Tianqing did give him a very dangerous feeling, much more dangerous than Earth Lord Tej. Chapter 1035. The battle ended quickly. The number of contestants was quickly reduced, but this had nothing to do with Yi Tianyan. After all, he had already passed. What he needed to focus on was who his next opponent would be. The further he went, the scarier his opponent would be. The 5 elders continued to discuss who their next opponent would be. As the referees here, they had to clearly see who was stronger. They tried not to let them meet each other, or they would be eliminated from the beginning. For example, the first battle would be between Yi Tianyan and Earthlord Tianqing. No matter what, one of them would lose. If Yi Tianyan loses at that time, it will definitely be unfair. Yi Tianyan would be eliminated immediately, which was not in line with the rules. There was nothing exciting about it. He could have been in the top 3, but now he was at the bottom. Therefore, they were the main judges. Most of the time, they would not make a wrong judgment. Only in a few cases would they make a wrong judgment. For example, they thought that Yi Tianyan's cultivation was about the same as demon-eyed Earth Lord's, who knew that he would be crushed. As for Earthlord Tianqing, they arranged the weakest for her. This was not cheating, but because Earthlord Tianqing was too strong. No matter what they arranged, she would definitely lose. Just the ability of the Holy Flame was enough to show disdain for everyone. Therefore, they could only send the weakest as cannon fodder, or directly advance. When there were not enough people, they could directly advance. There was no need for her to fight. If Yi Tianyan had used his extremely violent ability before, he would have been treated the same way. But on the surface he was still relatively low-key and did not show too much power. With his outburst, the 5 elders realized that they had made a wrong judgment. But it was too late, and now it was the end. Of course, they did not make too many mistakes. At least those who could reach the end were real geniuses. It was just that most of the top 10 in the number of tokens in the first round were not in the top 10 now. It had to be said that the real time to show off one's strength was in the battles. Now those who were left were the most dazzling contestants. They had fought their way out of so many competitions. The region lords who had these contestants were all flushed with excitement. This was the time when they were the most excited. As for the participants, they were all recovering quickly and didn't have the time to care about these things. After all, they still had to continue fighting, and the opponents they would face would be even more monstrous. The last person the top 8 wanted to meet was Tianqing, a terrifying woman. It would have been fine if it was a man, but it just had to be a woman, making the group of men lose face. Even in the later stages, the opponents of Heavenly Lord and Earthly Lord were killed in 1 or 2 moves. Their terrifying power made people feel fear. 3 days later, most of the participants had basically recovered. In this deity battle arena, they could increase their recovery speed. Coupled with recovery elixirs, they could recover even faster. Unless it was an injury that was difficult to recover from quickly, 3 days would be enough. If they did not recover after 3 days, they would be forced to play. This was the rule, and no one was an exception. He wouldn't wait for them to fully recover before letting them go on stage. Now let's announce your next opponent. Elder Go Huang and the others finally finished their discussion. They had been discussing for 3 whole days. Everyone could see the 5 elders huddled together, discussing how to arrange opponents for them. This had never happened before, which was enough to show how serious they were. After all, everyone present was quite talented. They needed to establish a fair rule among the sacred territories to convince the masses. Elder Go Huang then threw out 8 rays of light that enveloped them. Soon, each of them had a token in their hands with a number on it. Number 7. Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes and looked up. It wasn't Tianqing, Earthly Lord, or Earth Lord Tegu who was looking at him, but Earth Lord Yuhua. Earth Lord Yuhua. Yi Tianyan looked at Earth Lord Yuhua. He was a 7th refined Earth Lord, and he kept a low profile. He wasn't at the top of the rankings. For example, he hadn't made it to the top 10 in the first round, and was only in the top 20. In the second round, he had only lasted until the 7th round before losing, which was a decent result. All in all, he was a decent opponent. But absolutely no one would have thought that Earth Lord Yuhua, who was above average, would make it to the top 8. It felt like he had suddenly made it to the top. It was so sudden that it exceeded everyone's expectations. Earth Lord Yuhua looked rather ordinary. Both his appearance and temperament were mediocre. This didn't mean that he was weak. It was very likely that he was walking the path of mediocrity. He didn't stand out at all, which was why he was so terrifying. His overall strength isn't bad. It's quite interesting that he could make it to the top 8. Yi Tianyan hadn't paid much attention to Earth Lord Yuhua before. Or rather, the aura that Earth Lord Yuhua had displayed made it easy for others to ignore him, as if he didn't exist. Only when he had made it to the top did everyone realize that there was such a person. The two of them looked at each other after going up, but neither made a move. Earth Lord Tianyan, please give me some pointers. Earth Lord Yuhua cupped his hands. His tone was neither humble nor arrogant, and there was nothing special about his voice. It felt very ordinary. However, if one treated him as an ordinary opponent, they might lose in the next second. Please give me some pointers. Yi Tianyan returned the greeting. After saying that, Earth Lord Yuhua immediately attacked first. It wasn't too sudden, and his movements were too easy to predict. In particular, his speed was neither too fast nor too slow, as if he was telling his opponent that he was going to attack, so that he could prepare himself. Yi Tianyan's eyes narrowed. Earth Lord Yuhua's move looked very ordinary, but it was flawless. In the next moment, Earth Lord Yuhua attacked. He didn't use any weapons and only used his hands to attack. With a flick of his hand, his right hand turned into a palm blade that stabbed directly at Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan ignored him and swung his fist in Earth Lord Yuhua's direction. No matter what technique it was, he would destroy it with a single punch. Earth Lord Yuhua's palm blade twisted slightly as the fist closed in with a ferocious momentum. Like a mermaid swimming in the air, it parried the incoming fist. With a gentle push, Yi Tianyan felt his strength instantly dissipate, as if he had been punched into soft cotton. He didn't have any strength to respond at all. Quake! Earth Lord Yuhua twisted his palm again and pushed forward lightly. There was a loud boom, and a burst of energy exploded in the air. A force that seemed to have been compressed to the extreme pressed forward fiercely. Yi Tianyan felt his body tremble, and he was sent flying by this terrifying force. However, he quickly adjusted his position in the air and landed on the ground. This is the power of yin and yang. Yi Tianyan's eyes narrowed. He saw the power of yin and yang circulating in Earth Lord Yuhua's palms, forming a circle of taiji. After dissipating his violent strength, he stored it in his palms and rebounded it back fiercely. This was another kind of rebound force. Chapter 1036. Yi Tianyan's violent punch had been neutralized by the terrifying power of yin and yang. Furthermore, it was reflected back at him with unbelievable strength. The power of yin and yang, no wonder. Yi Tianyan swung his arm slightly. Not only had his strength been reflected, but it had also carried an even greater force with it. Just this rebound force alone was enough to make his opponent suffer. No wonder Earth Lord Yuhua's battle record wasn't that eye-catching. This power could only be displayed to its greatest extent in a duel. Just imagine, Earth Lord Yuhua had to continuously reflect his opponent's attacks back at him. How frustrating would that be? It was very likely that he would end up dying from the rebound of his own strength. This was truly frustrating. Yi Tianyan's attempt at a punch wasn't his strongest, but it was still reflected back at him. One had to admit that Earth Lord Yuhua was indeed very strong. Sure enough, some people's abilities were most effective in a duel. Naturally, they wouldn't be able to obtain good results in a few competitions. Thus, Earth Lord Yuhua had risen above the rest in the third round and charged into the top 8 in one go. Earth Lord Yuhua didn't stop attacking. He immediately charged forward and brought his palms together. A giant yin-yang formation appeared in the air, and he slammed it down viciously. Two terrifying forces came crashing down on Yi Tianyan from the sky. His first move was an extremely powerful killing move. Even if he didn't reflect his opponent's strength, his attack alone was already extraordinarily powerful. The massive yin-yang rotated like the sky, sealing off all escape routes. As long as he was still in the arena, there was no chance of escape. Who would have thought that the ordinary-looking Earth Lord Yuhua would be like an unstoppable god of war in a real fight? Interesting, but that's all there is to it. Yi Tianyan instantly transformed into a fiendish god. With a twist of his right hand, the heavenly divine spear appeared in his grasp, and he thrust it at the yin-yang rotated. Boom! The yin-yang wheel was punctured by his spear. The power of yin and yang was like a blooming flower, spreading out in all directions. Circle after circle of power slammed on the side of the barrier, causing it to slightly deform. By the time the yin and yang energy exploded, Earth Lord Yuhua had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyan. He swung his palm viciously at Yi Tianyan's chest. The black and white energies constantly circulated in his palm, forming a vortex of energy that was trying to send him flying. With quick reflexes, Yi Tianyan twisted the celestial divine spear in his hand and thrust it towards Earth Lord Yuhua. He didn't hold back at all. If this spear hit its mark, it would definitely pierce through Earth Lord Yuhua. Yin-yang twist. Earth Lord Yuhua roared as he faced the incoming celestial divine spear. He wasn't afraid of getting injured at all. With a swoosh sound, the back of his hand slid forward along the spear's shaft. The flame attached to the spear conveniently burned over. He twisted his palm unhurriedly, wanting to fling the flame away. At the same time, he pushed it forward lightly, as if he was pushing away 1,000 caddies with little effort. He deflected Yi Tianyan's celestial divine spear to the side. Just like before, he was able to neutralize the power of the terrifying fist. It seemed that this secret technique wasn't just suitable for bare-handed attacks, but also for weapons. The key was that the flame that came along with the force of yin and yang was able to neutralize the force and fling the flame away. This was simply unprecedented. He had seen flames extinguished, but he had never seen a flame be so easily flung away like water on a person's body. Yi Tianyan felt the power of his spear being instantly sucked dry. His eyes narrowed as he clearly saw with his appraisal eye that all the power had been sucked into Earth Lord Yuhua's palm. Upon closer inspection, Earth Lord Yuhua's palm wasn't really bare-handed. Instead, he was wearing a glove that was as thin as a cicada's wing. It was impossible to tell that he was wearing a pair of gloves. Furthermore, this glove was a high-grade reincarnation-grade weapon. Combined with his yin-yang god technique, its power was maximized. Even the most domineering attack was neutralized by him, absorbed into his palm, and reflected back at him at any time. In the next moment, Yi Tianyan did indeed feel the power of his spear being sucked away. After being pushed by Earth Lord Yuhua, his attack was deflected to the side. It didn't even touch Earth Lord Yuhua's clothes, let alone injure him. Yin-yang quake. Earth Lord Yuhua pushed forward again, this time aiming for Yi Tianyan's chest. As if teleporting, he closed in on Yi Tianyan in an attempt to launch a close-range attack. Yi Tianyan swiftly swatted out his empty left hand and collided with Earth Lord Yuhua's palm. Bam! The one who was sent flying wasn't Earth Lord Yuhua, but Yi Tianyan. Earth Lord Yuhua's palm seemed to contain Yi Tianyan's ferocious spear attack, exploding the instant their palms collided. Yi Tianyan was sent flying again, sliding back several dozen meters in the air before coming to a stop. Interesting, as expected of a top 8 expert. Yi Tianyan's eyes lit up. Even an ordinary Lord of Heaven wouldn't be able to withstand his spear attack. Not only had Earth Lord Yuhua managed to withstand it, but he had also reflected all the power back at him. Everyone's eyes lit up at Earth Lord Yuhua's situation. Who would have thought that the extremely violent Yi Tianyan would suffer such a setback? 2 consecutive domineering attacks had been reflected back by Earth Lord Yuhua to no avail. Is Earth Lord Yuhua really that strong? He wasn't this strong before, was he? Perhaps none of his previous opponents were worthy enough to make him fight. Earth Lord Tianyan is done for. What's the use of violence? Brute force won't do him any good. What else can he do apart from brute force? That's true. I heard that his strongest points are brute force and speed, but both are useless against Earth Lord Yuhua. They've all been neutralized. What a joke. That's true. I thought he could make it into the top 3, but it looks like he won't even make it into the top 4. However, it doesn't matter which ranking he gets. He's guaranteed a spot in the 5 divine realms. So what if he is? At least we can suppress his arrogance and show him that there's always a higher mountain. They began to mock and ridicule Earth Lord Yuhua. They all felt much better when they saw Yi Tianyan at a disadvantage. Even though Yi Tianyan's results were better than theirs, they still felt extremely satisfied when they saw someone suppress Yi Tianyan. At least someone could suppress Yi Tianyan instead of allowing him to win all the way. Is he really going to stop at the top 8? Nian Xiaoyu felt that it was a great pity. She had hoped that Yi Tianyan could make it into the top 3, or even take first place. You have to learn to be content. Even if it's the top 8, it's our best result, isn't it? The Heavenly Mandate Domain Lord smiled slightly. Even if Yi Tianyan lost, it doesn't matter anymore. Chapter 1037. Many people were not optimistic that Yi Tianyan would be able to enter the top 4 due to his situation. The defeated Morong Xiao clenched her fists and encouraged him. Brother Tianyan, you can do it. Do your best. She did not believe that Yi Tianyan would be able to win this round with just this little bit of ability. Earth Lord Yuhua, this is interesting. The Magic Eye Earth Lord looked at Yi Tianyan without a hint of disappointment in his eyes. I believe that you won't lose to him. The Magic Eye Earth Lord had experienced Yi Tianyan's strength, so he believed that Yi Tianyan would be able to continue winning. This was because he felt that the strength that Yi Tianyan had displayed against him wasn't his full strength, but only a portion of it. If that was the case, it wouldn't be a problem for him to win this round. Some hoped that Yi Tianyan would win, some felt satisfied, and some felt that Yi Tianyan would lose without a doubt. Everyone had different opinions, but the majority believed that Yi Tianyan would lose without a doubt. After seeing Earth Lord Yuhua display such strength, they immediately felt that he would be able to win this round. This Yin-Yang God technique is indeed a low-grade heavenly Dao martial art. Yi Tianyan smiled faintly. He already had a rough idea of how Earth Lord Yuhua could display such terrifying strength. The reason why Earth Lord Yuhua was so powerful, apart from his shocking talent, was that he possessed a low-grade heavenly Dao martial art. A heavenly Dao martial art was an entire realm stronger than a rebirth realm martial art. There was no comparison between the two. With the support of this terrifying heavenly Dao martial art, Yi Tianyan's strength increased tremendously. The power of Yin and Yang was already a heaven-defying force to begin with, so when the two were combined, Yi Tianyan's attack was easily deflected. The strength that Yi Tianyan had displayed wasn't weak at all. If even this could be easily countered, it meant that the martial art that his opponent had grasped must be even more powerful. There was no such thing as fairness in the duel arena. What mattered more was one's foundation. It was naturally advantageous for others to have a rich family background. For example, he had an ordinary iron weapon, while the other had a divine weapon. It was obvious who would win and who would lose at a glance. A duel was like this. It could be said to be fair, but it could also be said to be very unfair. There was one thing that was certain, and that was that the one who could win in the end must have a shocking background. If he didn't have top-notch talent, then he had top-notch treasures and martial arts. If they didn't have any amazing martial arts, they could only rely on their talent. Similarly, if they didn't have amazing talent, they could only use martial arts or treasures to make up for it. If he had both, it would be heaven-defying. Earth Lord Tianqing was one of them, and so was Earth Lord Yuhua. I'm sorry, Earthly Monarch Tianyan. I'll take this round. Earth Lord Yuhua didn't give Yi Tianyan too much time to rest. He quickly formed a seal with his hands and deployed a massive Yin-Yang divine formation in an invincible manner. Yin and Yang began to rotate in the air. It was even more powerful than before. It was still an all-out attack, and he wanted to force Yi Tianyan into a dead end. Earth Lord Yuhua knew that Yi Tianyan wasn't weak by any means, so it would be difficult for him to cause too much damage. The best way to deal with it was to repel Yi Tianyan and eject him from the arena. That way he would win. He hadn't gained much of an advantage after 2 consecutive attacks against Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan's terrifying physique was truly terrifying. Is that so? I don't think so. 2 beams of light shot out from Yi Tianyan's eyes as he brandished his spear once again. The dragon god bloodline in his body erupted. It would be impossible to deal with these geniuses without some strength. Boom. A violent force pierced through the Yin-Yang divine formation once again. Even though it had been strengthened several times, it still couldn't withstand Yi Tianyun's domineering spear. It was still Earth Lord Yuhua's figure. This time, his attack was completely different. The transparent gloves in his hands began to emit a black and white glow. Countless yin-yang divine formations appeared on his palms and rotated continuously like a black vortex that could suck a person in. Yin-yang kill. The wildly rotating yin-yang divine formation tried to strangle Yi Tianyun to death. It was like a terrifying meat grinder trying to suck him in and shred him into countless pieces. Who would have thought that the yin-yang divine formation could not only reflect the force back, but it could also transform into a killing move that could suck the opponent in and shred him to pieces. Most importantly, it contained the power of the heavenly Tao, which caused the surrounding forces to surge toward it. This was the power of the heavenly Tao, a type of nomological power. The heavenly tribulation was the power of the heavenly Tao. How many people could resist the power of the heavenly Tao? A heavenly Tao martial art was in existence that was constructed on top of the heavenly Tao. It could begin to manipulate the power of the heavenly Tao in the surroundings and strengthen the user. A reincarnation-level martial art could manipulate the reincarnation force. However, the amount of reincarnation force that could be manipulated was extremely small. Compared to the power of the heavenly Tao, which was above the reincarnation force, the difference was like the difference between clouds and mud. A heavenly Tao martial art. Who can resist such a formidable power of the heavenly Tao? Many of the defeated contestants couldn't help rising to their feet. They had been spectating from the sidelines as spectators. Now that Earth Lord Yuhua had unleashed his power, they could feel the terrifying power of the heavenly Tao. It was as if they had entered the heavenly tribulation once again. Earth Lord Tianyun will definitely lose. Both of them had the same thought in their mind, that is, Yi Tianyun will be defeated. They had initially thought that Yi Tianyun had a chance of survival, but now they felt that it was hopeless. How could he suppress the heavenly Tao when it was right in front of him? It's just the heavenly Tao. I'll break it. A brilliant glow appeared in Yi Tianyun's eyes as he thrust the divine spear in his hand forward. He could even penetrate the heavenly Tao with a single thrust. As soon as the divine spear struck Earth Lord Yuhua's hands, he immediately felt the power of yin and yang devouring it frantically. Even the heavenly time divine spear was devoured by it. All the power had completely disappeared at this moment. It's useless. No matter how strong you are, you will still be diverted. There are no exceptions. Earth Lord Yuhua's eyes turned yin and yang as he pushed his palms forward frantically, firmly holding Yi Tianyun's heavenly time divine spear in place. Even the surrounding space was frozen. That's because the power you've encountered is too weak. Yi Tianyun opened his eyes as the planet in his body began to rotate rapidly. The most violent star force within it began to surge into his body. Most importantly, the giant planet began to merge with him. He was the planet, and the planet was him. A force of over 1 trillion kilograms erupted in an instant, blasting the yin-yang divine formation into black and white powder. Even Earth Lord Yuhua was sent flying by the spear. Earth Lord Yuhua spat out a mouthful of blood into the sky as his body flew backward uncontrollably. In the end, he charged out of the arena and slammed into the wall at the side. The sturdy wall shook violently with a loud thud, causing Earth Lord Yuhua to spit out another mouthful of blood. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.